So a few weeks ago, in a whoa,
What
I
was
heard.
that?
I don't know. That was your end. It's like your phone's
Oh, it's
starting to buzz.
Hang Out There is now live. That's what I heard.
Okay. Well, I'm
It's
glad to
buzzing.
know that your phone is.
It's
Your phone
buzzing.
also
That's all.
shaves you. So a few weeks ago, as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted. A few weeks ago, I'm doing a game on an afternoon, and it's the Angels and somebody, and of course the '82, the California Angels from 1982, famous second baseman Bobby Grich. And so we get going in the chat as we often do about different things. And tonight's guest brought up the name Steve Christmas, who was the catcher for the Cincinnati Reds for about 3 weeks, I think, in 1987 or 8. But his last name was Christmas. And so they got going back and forth in the chat. And I said, well, wouldn't it be wonderful if Bobby Critch stole second base on one of those Reds teams? And silly me said live on the air, why is that? Because then he'd be the Grinch who stole on Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet Dave Baseball Demos, the author of that pun and others. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, but I almost wish I hadn't authored that one.
It was great. I told you before, I told my wife that one and she laughed. So there
Oh,
you
that's
go. So someone who's
almost
famous,
chuckles, but that's good.
you're famous now for that. Um, Dave has been playing baseball games on YouTube for just about 4 years.
Close to it, yeah.
Close to it, about four
Off and on. I
years.
mean, not constant, but off and on.
It
It's
has
a
almost 1,000
yeah.
subscribers in the deal. Started with some Diamond Mind and is now doing some Action PC and was successfully bribed to make sure that the my pitching performance and the Friends of the Community channel was enough to guarantee a 4 game sweep. It was awesome. So I
And that
appreciate it.
The rear admiral did not win.
That's even better. Dr. Parks, however, has been diagnosing the swelling in my face. I do appreciate it. All right. So, Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Boy, that's an open-ended question.
Tell us anything you'd like to the public to
Well,
know about yourself. The fact that you're a
well,
serial killer and on the FBI's
yeah.
most wanted doesn't matter for this conversation.
Well, on Saturday is my 54th birthday, so I'm looking forward to
Happy
that.
birthday.
It's time to be off. Yeah, at least I'm not working. It's on Saturday, right? So, um, and like I've been following baseball all my life. It's been my one main sport. I do follow other sports, but nothing like baseball. Baseball's the only one I actually played because I wasn't big enough to play football or basketball. But baseball, you don't have to be big.
No.
You just, it's all about if you have the skills or not, which I didn't. I eventually found out I did not have the skills, but it was fun to try.
What did you play?
I just played like youth league and stuff like that. I never even dreamed about playing high school. I could feel, but I couldn't hit. I was like Rafael Belliard before Rafael Belliard came around. Or against Mendoza. Mendoza would beat me out by a long shot.
Mario Mendoza in his career 200 batting average, isn't that it? There you go. So you couldn't even beat that in like a Babe Ruth league.
Nah, when I was a real young kid, I was real scared of the baseball. I was scared of getting hit. When I was a
They
young kid.
hurt.
Yeah, especially there was one kid who was about 6'2" that really threw a fastball. And he was like a sidewinding right-hander, and so I had a hard time staying in the box.
So what got you into baseball?
Mainly my family, my father, my brother, just kind of influenced me. We watched it on TV on Saturdays. Back then, you only had three channels usually.
That's right.
You kind of watch what your father was watching. So Saturday afternoon, grew up Saturday afternoon. Joe Garagiola, Tony Kubek, game of the week.
Right.
There wasn't ESPN, there wasn't MLB Network. It was just if you want to get your fix, you watched on Saturday. So we usually had a little league game in the morning, then came home and watched that in the afternoon.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. We were talking the other day, and that Al and I would watch This Week in Baseball would always be on a half hour before the pregame show. And so you get right, you get your morning full of cartoons, you get all sugared up, and then you watch baseball in the afternoon. It was great.
Yeah.
So
I basically just started the whole channel thing just as a whim. Just I saw some other people doing it. I said, I'll put out a couple of videos just to see what it's like. And the reason why the channel is named what it is my intention was just do a few demonstration videos on new games and leave it at that. I never intended to, do projects and do all this other stuff. It just kind of evolved into that because I had so much fun doing it. So
So was your you're currently doing a 77 Chicago White Sox project. Is your dad a White Sox fan? I mean, what's the Whites, or what made you curious
No, just
about them?
77. I was 12 years old in 77. It was one of my favorite seasons, and a lot of the card sets were available in 77 that aren't available like in 78 or 79, like Strat. They didn't have the 78, 79 available. The 77 was available, so ergo, that's what I went with. And it brought back a lot of memories, and I just kind of went with it.
So did your brothers play Strat?
No, I'm the only one that plays the board games.
Okay. So let's go back to there. So you watched on Saturday afternoons. You obviously have a very thick New England accent, so we know that you've been a Red Sox fan for no, I'm kidding.
Right.
Braves fan or Orioles fan?
Neither one.
Neither one.
Well, I mean, I grew up kind of a Braves fan because where I'm from, we used to be the AAA team.
In Richmond, yeah, Richmond, Virginia.
So you would see all the, I saw Murphy come up, and I saw Tom Glavine come up, and Smoltz come up, and Chipper Jones, and all those guys. But I've never really translated to Atlanta. I mean, I kind of like to follow them, but I wasn't really a fan per se. I was more of a San Diego fan. I was
a big Padres fan. So you like to suffer in strange ways like we did up here in New England. What drew outside of those wonderfully tasteful uniforms that they
That's what drew me was the uniforms.
Was it really?
It was, because I grew up when I was a real little kid. I grew up an A's fan because I love those green and gold uniforms and the mustaches and the long hair and all that stuff. And then once he tore the team down, I said, well, I got to pick somebody else. Then I saw this team with these brown and yellow looking uniforms that came from Taco Bell. I said, this looks cool. And then I saw this guy named Dave Winfield. I said, I like him. I'm going to follow him. And then Ozzie Smith came along.
That's right. Good people to follow. Good people to
eventually
follow.
In 84 they got done, but that was it.
But they were never on television when you were a little kid.
Except when Atlanta played them on the Superstation.
Okay, yes. Those late night games from San Diego.
Yep.
Did your mom let you stay up? Or did we not know? Have we told mom that you stayed up yet? That's maybe the better question.
On weekends. Or what I would also do is, especially if a team like Philadelphia was playing them, I listened to the radio because the radio station.
Harry Whitey, yeah.
I get Harry Callis and I think it's Chris Wheeler. I think his name was
Chris Wheeler, Ricky Ashburn, and Andy Mustard.
Yeah, so I remember Chris Wheeler, and I remember, of course, Harry Callis. So when Philadelphia played San Diego, there was one game, I think it was on to like 2 a.m, and I was like, it was a Friday night, so I stayed up. They thought I was asleep, but I was really listening to the radio. So.
There is an apparent of anyone who is in this Friends of the Community that doesn't have a story about a kid falling asleep with a game on the radio, the AM radio at night. I mean, in the late part of the '86 season, we moved to around the area where my mom lives now, and the station that carried the Red Sox went off the air at midnight and came back on at 5. And so I fell asleep at the end of a late season Red Sox Blue Jay game. Wow. And got the scare of my life at 5 o'clock in the morning when the national anthem came blaring into my bed.
That's what I'm used to. I mean, I can remember the day when the thing after the late news, it signed off and you got the national anthem, and that was it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Dave Gardner asked if you like the California Seals.
I don't even know who the California Seals are.
Yeah, there's not a lot of hockey fans.
I've never heard of them.
DC. Yeah, it's the old hockey team. It was actually owned by Kelly Finley and had the same colors.
Actually, as a hockey fan, I grew up as a Flyers fan because, again, the team here in Richmond was a farm team of the Flyers.
Oh, really? They had an AHL team down in Richmond?
No, it was a AHL.
Right.
Richmond Rock. They played the Hershey Bears and Nova Scotia, somebody or another. This was back in the 70s, back when Bobby Clark and the Broad Street Bullies were in their heyday. That's kind of what I was following. But then I've turned to a Canadiens fan just because I like the name.
I like you.
And I like Patrick Waugh. So,
I really like you. Yes. Yes, Gardner. Yes. There. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, St. Patrick's Cathedral, the old Montreal Forum. When I started watching, they were still dressing up in suits and ties, and the ladies in dresses.
I like those original, what they call the original 8 or original 6 NHL teams.
Yes.
Yeah. I like watching any game with those, with the originals.
Richmond, if you remember the strike, saddest 8 weeks of my childhood, that summer of '81. The strike. TBS did a lot of Richmond Braves games. They sent Ernie and Skip and Pete and it wasn't Sterling yet. There might have been one other person up to Richmond and did some games, and so you saw the Brett Butlers and those a lot of those kids, Pascual Perez
and the Brits before they traded him away to Cleveland for nothing.
Let's not be bitter. It's a long time ago, and you root for the Padres.
Barker. Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't watch a lot of winning baseball growing up.
Say again now?
You didn't watch a lot of winning baseball growing up.
Winning baseball? No. I have affinity for following losers. It's my thing. Whoever I pick loses.
So you were after the right age when 1984 came along.
Yeah, I was.
Your phone vibrating again.
It's just an update coming on my phone. It's not. I don't think it's going to kick me off.
Okay.
In 1984, I was 19.
Ah.
And I was actually in the service down in Georgia. And so I actually went to Fulton County and saw the Padres play in 84.
They're obviously a very good team in 84.
Yeah. I didn't see the fight, but I saw them play because they did have a fight. I wasn't there for that game, but I was there for a game.
So what was your thought after going to Wrigley and dropping the first two against the Cubs and coming home for possibly three? Did you think?
Had no idea they could come back in the game. The way they were dominated so much, especially Sutcliffe the first game to shut them down. And I was like, well, this was nice, 3 and out. And then the Cubs just kind of gave it away. It was a bad bounce on the infield and Durham through the legs. But Lacqua had a key hit and Garvey had a home run. And their bullpen was great. Their starters were terrible.
Was it Eric Shaw?
Ed Whitson was terrible in the World Series. They had to pull him before he got an out, I think. World Series.
Was Mark Thurman the starter on that?
Mark Thurman was the starter. Eric Shaw, Tim Lawler, and Ed Whitson. But they had their bullpen. They had Andy Hawkins, and they had Dave Dravecky and Goose Gossage, of course.
Goose Gossage, right?
A guy named a guy like Craig Lefferts was another one they had, a lefty.
That's a good pitcher. Yeah.
So they had a great bullpen.
So you couldn't have been too disappointed. I mean, I think everyone knew going into that 84 series the Tigers were going to wipe the floor with whoever they played with.
And particularly two separate reasons. One, they were using the DH. And
That's
two,
right.
Kevin McReynolds was hurt. So the Padres had to go to their bench twice. They had to pull out Bobby Brown, who would have never seen the light of day. And Kurt Bavacqua was your DH. So, I mean,
Kurt Bavacqua's claim to fame was winning a bubble blowing contest.
Bubblegum championship. Yep. And I remember the little highlights where I think they've shown it on YouTube or on TV where Dick Williams goes out to Goose Gossage when he's going to pitch to Gibson in Game 5 and says, I can get him. And the next pitch got Gibson is a 3-run homer.
Yeah, he got Gibson all right. He got Gibson trophy. And so Ken Castro's in the chat. Todd B says Brett Butler was a master when it came to bunting a lost art nowadays.
He certainly is.
And so 98, shall we just go, again,
Padres 98, yeah.
Tony Gwynn must be your favorite player, though.
You're playing the Yankees, though, so it's, nobody's going to beat the Yankees.
Not that year.
Especially Scott Brocious.
I felt good for, was happy that Mark Lexington finally got in the World Series.
Yeah.
And then Tino Martinez said, welcome to the World Series.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. And like I said, Scott Brocious seemed to hit every key hit. He just every time he needs something, Scott Brocious would hit a home run or do something.
Still follow the Padres?
I'm following a little bit now since they're getting better, but I kind of go when the Nationals came along, I kind of shifted my loyalties to more to the Nationals and following them. But
it's your fault.
Now the Padres are starting to get better. Say again now.
This is your, this whole Nationals thing here is your fault.
Oh, okay. Well. At least it's not an Orioles jersey. You could have wore a Chris Davis jersey.
No. I grew up in New England. I don't need that. No,
or
actually, it's you can't see the
Stanley jersey.
I'm
sure you get Bob Stanley just so cheap.
Oh, Jesus, 46 now. And not only that, you can't see it, but it's my jersey. Yeah. You can see the two teams. I actually had one made up.
Yes,
that was awesome. No, they're the Nats are an enigma wrapped up in a riddle, wrapped up in ownership that is completely clueless. Spend millions and millions and millions of dollars, but it's just like, well, I went to McDonald's and got a double quarter pounder. Isn't that a good steak? No, a double quarter pounder from McDonald's is not a good. You might have spent $10 on the damn thing,
Yeah.
They couldn't even sign Bud Norris. That deal fell apart today.
It's ridiculous.
And and the Nats
Kimbrel wants too much money, so they're not going to send Kimbrel because he wants too much money.
Well, he wants 6 years.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants that? I mean, if the Red Sox won't bite on that, then no one else is going to bite. I thought the Braves were going to sign him. Anyway, so, you've had, I'm not an Oriole fan. I always like Jim Palmer. And if I see Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer doing a game, I'll stop and watch because I like them both. But
I like Gary Thorne a lot.
Yeah, I do too. He used to, I don't know if you remember, his start in Major League Baseball. He's from Maine, up in Clinton Parks land. Maine Guides, and he's a lawyer. But he got his MLB start with the Mets on the radio with Bob Murphy.
Oh, wow.
So he was the 86 Mets, and
I remember the Maine Guides. I remember we played the Maine Guides.
Yes, you did.
Several times.
Yep. Those are fun times. Okay. So we've established that you and I have had similar baseball histories until 2004. And that the Nats will win someday.
Someday.
I don't know what, it's not this year, but someday they'll win.
Someday.
And we'll both, I root for 2 teams. I root for the Nationals and I root for the Red Sox, and it's been a bad.
Playing the Yankees.
Right. Yeah. Heartbreak was a common thing in my childhood, and we don't talk about Bob Stanley at all.
No.
You saw that last night. In fact, yeah, we don't. We're starting opening day 87. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back into so. You watched on Saturday afternoons. If you were a good boy, you saw Monday nights. So which means you got to see the Yankees an awful lot.
I saw the Friedrichs game live. The one against the Yankees.
What? I saw the Friedrichs game live too, and I was only 4 or 5.
Because it was a rain out in Pittsburgh, or rain delay in Pittsburgh, so they shifted to the Detroit game.
Oh, okay.
Because the big team of Warner Wolf.
And Bob Prince
and Warner Wolf.
Bob Prince and Warner Wolf. You couldn't have found 2 more mismatched out. Well, maybe Bob and FP, but
yeah. But I think Warner Wolf did the interaction with Mark Friedrich very well. I think they meshed very well. To have Warner Wolf at that game describing Friedrich, I think was
I was a preschooler at the time, and so I knew all about Big Bird. And here's Friedrich on the cover of Time magazine with Carol Spinney, who's Big Bird.
Yeah.
And so, you got that connection. You didn't get that Ralph Houck threw his arm out in June, and he was never the same pitcher again and all that. But, there are lots of people on the chatting in the chat now that are, huge Mark Friedrich fans. Dave Gardner loved Mark Friedrich so much he traded him in his Action PC What If to have him on the 77 Red Sox with Reggie Jackson.
I remember him with the Juckett Red Sox in a rehab, so or trying to make a comeback, I guess.
I did too. Yeah, he was from Warwick. Everyone saw the Friedrich game.
Remember where, but
everyone. I've got like 4 different people talking about everyone watching the Friedrich game.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was the big deal. But so Saturdays and Mondays, and when you got cable, you got TBS.
I got TBS.
First time we had cable, we had TBS and WGN. So imagine coming home from school and having baseball on in the afternoon. It was great. Didn't care about the Cubs. It was baseball.
WGN was my first experience to Harry Carey, my first exposure to Harry Carey.
Holy cow. Todd B. saw
and Steve Stone, I thought was actually a decent color man. So
Steve Stone, he still is a decent color man.
I thought he was a decent color man. So
he's doing the White Sox.
Harry. So
he babysat Harry at all, especially after
he had to deal with Harry and Hawk Harrelson. That nobody should have to deal with that.
I saw a good interview with Stone on YouTube. So it must have been from whatever it was. And he and Harry had their moments, but he had a genuine love and affection for Harry. When they asked him about Hawk Harrelson, we went back to talking about Harry.
Oh, there you go. Although I will say that I think Steve Stone should not have won the Cy Young in 1980. I thought Mike Norris got robbed of the A's. This is my opinion. This is a side note.
Wow. I thought I got pedantic on streams. How about that? So you were, let's see, if you were 1984, you were 12 and 77. So you're not only old enough to understand what was going on, you do the basics of strategy and what to do and what not to do.
Yep.
And the Padres were they did not host it. That was 78. They hosted the All-Star game.
Right.
So what in 1977, what was your primary interest at the time?
Primary interest as far as a team, you mean, or
In baseball, yeah.
in baseball as a team? Um, okay, we're still okay. I had a flash there, so I'm not sure we're
You're
still
fine.
on.
You're fine.
Okay. Mainly I didn't really have a set team. I was collecting baseball cards and
Like that.
actually oddly enough, I like the Reds, which was really strange because I don't like them now, but did back then when they had Pete Rose and Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan, and, basically a big red machine.
Yeah. Then they got Tom Seaver. Let's see. Steve Stone, Todd B in the chat says Steve Stone gave up Dwayne Kuiper's only major league home run.
Dwayne Kuiper, yes.
The only one he ever hit was off of Steve Stone. I wonder if Steve was drunk at the time because Steve had a reputation.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Or hitting the bottle?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Well, he fit in with Harry Carey then, I would think.
I think Steve had sobered up by then.
Oh.
Dave says I have to say something nice about the Bruins first for him to give a like.
Say something nice about the Bruins?
Yeah, I have to say something nice.
I like their alternate yellow uniforms.
Oh God, those look like something the cat threw up.
Honey bear on there or something.
I always like Cam Neely there.
Yeah.
I said something nice about the Bruins.
I like Bobby Orr. I mean,
how could you not like Bobby Orr? I mean, the man's an absolute gentleman. Were you playing Strat by 77?
Oh no, I didn't know anything about Strat until I was an adult.
Oh, come on. I really liked Bobby Orr, and Cam Neely was fine, and I was very happy when Ray Bork won his Stanley Cup with the Colorado Avalanche. They feed me 3 square meals a day. All right, so let's talk about the gaming aspect of it.
Okay.
What got you into it?
Well, actually, I started on the computer side, and there was an old game. There's a real old game called Earl Weaver Baseball that I started with. That was my favorite PC game. It's called Earl Weaver Baseball.
With the baseball wheel for the copy protection.
Yes, that was the copy protection. Absolutely.
Yes.
And then from there, I progressed to it was called Tony Larussa Baseball. He put out a game.
I never played Larussa Baseball.
It was, looking back now, back then you thought it was great, but back, nowadays you would think it was very wanting, but that's where I cut my teeth, I guess, basically, if you want to say that. And then I broke down and brought Strat back in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
On PC, not on the cards.
I think the 1991 version with the 1990 players and the key disc.
Yeah. I had a key disc, but I had the 93 set right when they had the expansion with the Marlins and the
absolutely stunned that I got into this before you did. Okay. I'm surprised at that.
And then on a whim, I just in 2000 on a whim, I just decided to order a game and the card set. So I bought the 2000 set with the game, looked at it a few times, said I can't figure this thing out, and threw it underneath the bed. And then the next year rolls along 2001, and I was like, I really don't need to buy these cards, but Bonds did have 70 home runs, so maybe these cards will be worth something later. So I went ahead and bought
like a baseball card, yeah.
I mean, not the baseball card, the Strat cards.
No, but you were thinking like the baseball, like
right. I was in that mentality, yeah. Like it might be, worth something later. Not that it is, but and then in 2014, I want to say, is when I pulled it back out. I was 15 because it was 14 season that Strat had.
Wow.
So in 2015, I pulled it back out and just decided to start tinkering around with it. I said, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Let me learn the advanced game. I can like it. It took me a long time to get to the super advanced because I was just mainly an advanced game for a long time.
I would have thought that you had picked up on it right from an early age. I mean, you talked to most of the people that we've had on it talked about playing the cards and dice. It was I
never did
70s and 80s thing. I did Micro League was my first kind of game like that.
I played that as well. Yep, played that as well.
The first card and dice game was one I picked up at KB Toys. Was called Championship Baseball, and it came.
Actually, it wasn't card and dice. It was my first board game was Status Pro. I picked it up in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
So I did play Status Pro a little bit.
Bobby Catalano, Phantomatic, Ken Castro. How are you? I see I've got another like. I don't think I have to fake any more love for the Bruins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you played Status Pro.
Did we do our Bruins quota?
I believe you get a pass. I don't because I work with him. So
I'm not a hockey guy, so I can't really speak to
that. Here's my best hockey story. It has nothing to do with the game. After the Habs won the cup in '93, they're bringing the cup back into Canada, and it's at customs and all that, and the customs officers are looking at it and, oh, what is it? Well, it's a Stanley Cup. And so on the wooden crate it's in, it was stamped Canadian goods returned. Unfortunately, the last time that any Canadian team from Canada has won the cup. Max Cornelius is here. How you doing, Max? So tell us about Status Pro, how you found that, and what did you enjoy about it?
Actually, I found it in a KB toy store in the mall, just walking around one day and said it is, because I was looking at like Pay Dirt and some of these other type games, but that was football. I was really more into baseball. So that's kind of what.
You remember?
Excuse me.
What season do you remember?
Oh, I got it was in 1985, so I got the '84 season.
Okay, see the Padres.
Exactly, but the game there didn't have any left-right splits in it. Even back then, I was a big left-right split guy.
Wow.
And Status Pro only has, if you get 88 or 87, you use splits. Other than that, you don't. So, it's kind of like miffed on that, which is why I don't play Strat Basic, because there's no splits.
Okay.
And I got to have splits. Just got to have them.
Well, that's interesting. And then you obviously went on, you played Diamond Mind. Which at one point I think was probably
Diamond Mind after Larussa.
Diamond Mine was probably the top PC baseball actual hardcore sim for a long time, and you
have to be hardcore because there's no graphics whatsoever. So everything is your imagination. There's no sound. There's no nothing. Just pure numbers.
I bought Strat for a lot of years for the computer. But everyone, Diamond Mine, and resources were limited.
Right,
and the wife was going to go, you want what? Didn't you just buy this? And of course, with Strat, it's full price every year. It's not just $30; it's $60.
That's the one knock. It's a big knock on Strat that they make you buy it every year.
Thanks.
But I won't do an ID gesture on you. I won't go that route. So.
No, the funny thing is about Strat is if I had to pick one game to play, it would probably be Strat, because it gives the cards and dice experience. There's very little table checkups to do. 98% of the results come off the card, and if you know pick the right fielding chart, you roll the 20-sided die, and you get the result. It's a very quick playing game. But
I dog Strat for customer service, but like you, if I had to pick one game, could only have one game, it would be Strat.
Yeah. I love Action PC, obviously, and Dave is tremendous. There's so many Daves in this community. There's you, there's Gardner, and there's Koch or Cook, or however you pronounce it. And Dave Little. That's right. In fact, the cat wants to be called Dave. No, she doesn't. I love the game, but Strat's what I cut my teeth on. And same thing, picked it up at KB Toys. Don't you miss KB Toys? W Vlogs is in the chat. I missed that. Okay, so you played a bunch of games. You obviously did a YouTube search and found nothing for Diamond Mine. Is that pretty much how you came to create your channel?
Yeah, because it was the only thing I had at the time. I didn't have, or I wasn't comfortable at the time doing any board games. So the only thing I had going was Diamond Mine. It was the only thing I played. Yeah,
you wouldn't even think at that point 4 or 5 years ago to look. Now if you look, you got the table, the tabletop, and if for other games, ID Jester does a tremendous amount of cards and dice, and so do you. And a Red Sox fan does his what ifs, and so if you were looking 4, 5, 6 years ago to find instructions on how to play, or if even people still play these games,
Yeah.
you'd be kind of out of luck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only videos I saw was I saw a couple, I think maybe one on Appa and maybe one on Strat and one on History Maker, and that was pretty much it. Very,
Yeah.
very limited.
Tonight before we were going, the Play.com people, makers of History Maker Baseball, were doing a pre-play of the Frozen Four. Right? I caught the end of their Denver Providence game. Hopefully Denver has a better time in the real game than they did tonight in the pre-play. They're talking about strange things in the chat, which we don't need to get into. You got some good advice, but for your first effort, that was actually a very good first effort. Very dry presentation, as you tend to do, and that's not a knock. And so I guess the next question is, I remember when ID Jester finally had you on, he compared your style to Al's and my style, and you got the 16th at Augusta thing going really well. And then so here's this guy in the chat of my games, and I'll look over like this, and people are wondering why I'm laughing hysterically. So where'd that sense of humor come from? Because you're a riot.
I don't. Well, some people think I am. Some people, my coworkers, probably disagree with you. They think I'm corny, but that's all part of the charm. So
yeah. You mean the
my mind just goes. My mind just goes. I keep a lot of vocabulary in the back of my head. A lot of it's useless knowledge, but I'll hear one word and it'll associate something and trigger something in my mind to think of something else. Like the thing about Grinch. When I heard Grinch, I was hearing Grinch.
Yeah, well, I think I was talking about Grinch and Grinch being similar. I'm sure I fed you a liner for there.
Yeah, you probably said it on the tee for me, so teed it up for me.
I try my best. Dave Gardner, actually, that's a good question. Do you think these Sims are old man's games, or do younger people play these?
He's talking about computer or cards and dice?
I think just getting into it in general. I mean, I was a teenager. A teenager.
The young people today are more into the video games, so they're more likely to play MLB The Show or something like that. But I don't want to play a game that depends on the dexterity of my fingers and how fast I can react. I want to use my brain and take the time and savor it and enjoy it. I'm not in a rush. It's right. 45 minutes to an hour to relax.
Absolutely. But, I think the population that starts these games gets older. Yeah. But I always think there'll be a market for it because there's always a market for nostalgia.
Right.
Even if it's someone on your fantasy team that did well, you're going to want to remember. I think when Tom Brady retires, there'll be a run of people in New England who want to relive that, especially if Bozo the Cloud takes over at quarterback and when Belichick retires. So I agree. And they're talking in the chat about being an older people's game. So when you started to make videos, you had pulled Strat out from under the bed and figured that out, and wondered why that XY had that great card for the Giants in 2000 because Barry Bonds would his name on the cards.
Right, exactly.
What else were you playing at the time? Diamond Mine, Strat.
Diamond Mine, Strat, I believe, and I think I had my old Status Pro game still around that I was messing around with. And then about a year later, I saw a video by a fellow named Steve Tower that was introducing History Maker Baseball. And I looked at this thing, and there's little cartoon characters that are on their little playboard. And my first thought was not a positive one. It was like, what the hell is this? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
If you're not familiar with it, if someone's watching this later, I mean, we're talking about, Status Pro and Stratomatic when results are on the cards and they're very clear cut. And then you look at History Maker and it's Sad Sack, Gold, Ace. There's no statistics on there. It's all booklet driven.
They're called qualities, but the qualities are there based on their statistics. So there's like a statistical range. If you hit between 280 and 300, you might be a hero. You hit 215, you're probably a sad sack. So, they're using the quality basis there. And if you got an ERA 6.48, you're probably a workman.
Brandon or actually Workman?
Yeah. Brandon Workman, my way back to you. That's his Chris Berman name. Even though Chris Berman's not be around anymore. But.
No, that's actually a pitcher for the Red Sox, Brandon Workman.
Yeah, Brandon Workman. Yeah, sure is.
See, I teed it up for you, and you weren't paying attention. That's it.
Yeah.
You'll get it on Tuesday when I'm doing baseball again.
And I believe if I went back and looked at his old card, he may have been a workman on his card.
I bet he was. So when you bought History Maker, did you buy a season? What comes with it?
The only thing that comes with it originally are the the World Series team from '75, the Reds and Red Sox.
Okay,
that comes with it.
Old enough to remember that series.
So, absolutely. I remember well, I don't know if I was awake when the Fisk hit the home run or not. I may have had to go to bed that night, but yeah, I'm sure you were. So, but I do remember, vividly that game, and I remember a couple of rainouts before they could play Game 6.
That's what
let Tion get to pitch that game. Bill Lee was upset because he wanted to pitch Game 6. He ended up pitching Game 7, but still. And I remember the Bill Lee eephus pitch that he threw to Tony Perez, who deposited over the Green Monster.
Bill Lee throws it harder now in the 70s than he ever did as a pitcher in the majors. He lives up in Vermont. He lives here in Vermont. He lives up in the Northeast Kingdom, and I
didn't realize his mother played professional ball too in that girls' league.
Yeah, it actually doesn't surprise me a bit. Weed is legal now in Vermont, and I'm sure Bill really enjoys
that. He's probably living up to the namespace, man.
Yeah. Without question. He and Bernie Carbo were good friends.
Yeah.
Anyway, so 75.
But after I played the History Maker, I said, you know what, this is kind of fun. I said, it's not really, I can't take it seriously, but I'll just play it just to have something different to be fun with. And then I bought a season. I bought the 77 season again because 77 is just like.
We'll spend some serious time talking about that because I want to talk about your project.
Yeah. And then I bought the 87 season because I remember the 87 season when I was in college during the 87 season. And I remember watching a lot of Atlanta Braves on the 87 season, which is why I did a full season replay with that game just to test the game engine.
And what do you think?
I played all 161 games of the Atlanta Braves season using their game engine, and the stats came out very, very close. And I even sent it to the guy who makes the game. I said, look, strikeouts a little high, walks a little high, but other than that, numbers aren't bad. They're comparable.
I imagine if you weren't looking at things such like hit distribution or something like that. But again, History Maker comes across as a good entry-level game because it's not necessarily, even though it is number-driven. When I made the comment the other night and you said, well, I did a full season, I wasn't trying to bash the game at all. I pitched very well. Gave up too many runs in game 2 in my second start, but I pitched very well. But if you were to sit down with someone and say, this is a cards and dice game, I think for someone who was younger, they'd probably get the concept of traits as opposed to the APA card, 7, 13s, 24s, and
all these numbers all over.
Right. Chris Davis, it's one giant 13 between 1-1 and 6-6.
Yeah, there you go.
Except for that 35 on a 6-5.
Yeah.
How you doing?
And they also have that too, where you can on that History Maker, it's designed to be able to use your old baseball cards and just create a play right on the fly.
Yeah, have you ever done anything with the fictional part of it? I know that they've Steve Powers.
I just bought the 2019 set, and I'm actually going to be. I'll talk about that with go along with the White Sox as well, but because they come with 12 teams, this fictional thing, and it's really kind of neat because you're the master of your own universe. You can create your cities, figure out where they're going to make nicknames. You don't know who's supposed to hit cleanup, so you kind of. The first time I had to make a lineup with a fictional team, I was like, wow, this is kind of hard. I don't know who I should have here. I looked at the qualities.
Because it's not written out there, he hit 274 with 15 homers and 60 RBIs and 18 stolen bases and struck out 109 times.
Right.
It gives it some creation. Dave Gardner asks, and we will, by the way, in about probably 20 and 9 get into your questions. But Dave asks a good question, and I got to get on his good graces after picking on the Bruins. Dave, talking to you. What do you feel the pros and cons are of playing a cards and dice game versus a computer game? We're trying to get Dave Gardner to do some cards and dice of anything, just so. And so, what are the pros and cons that you would? Because you obviously played a lot of both.
Yeah, The pro to me is it's more interactive with the cards and dice. You feel like you're doing something. You're not just punching buttons or whatever. You're actually you're sorting through the cards. You're holding them in your hand. You're keeping you're keeping this. Most times you're keeping the score sheet by hand, which is what you're used to. If you go to a ball game, you keep score. Because I love keeping score. That's a whole other issue right there. But that's why I like baseball so much, because of statistics and keeping score.
Yes.
The con to that is keeping score. If that makes sense. The con is not keeping score. The con is tabulating the stats. To do those by hand is almost painful. So you have to have the computer to kind of help you along. But even that, like with this White Sox thing, I basically play each game twice because I got to play it on the cards, and then I got to go to the Strat PC and enter the game again. So I'm really going to the game again. So that makes it a little bit longer that way.
Now, if you tried ball school, if you got a tablet, I mean, Al and ID swear by iScore.
I use iScore for my fictional history maker, but for the Strat, I want to use the PC because I can simulate the rest of the season with the Strat PC.
Oh, well, that makes perfect sense.
And that way, for the cards that I'm missing, I got the player image right there on the computer. And
yes.
So forth.
Yep. No,
so what I may start doing as well is letting the computer help me out. Maybe I'll just play one game, the first game of every series, cards and dice, and play the other couple games on the PC so I can get through this thing quicker.
Like a Calico thing. I've seen some of that. And I want to say hello to Jude, old Nat's friend, Judo Joker. How are you, buddy? As he says, the Nats axed their deal with Bud Norris, and he still wants Craig Kimbrell. I don't want him for 6 years. A two-year deal, I would take in a heartbeat. Throw maybe even a 4-year deal if there was an opt-out, but 6.
No, I would give him a 2 or 3 year deal, high dollar, but low year.
Oh, ID says he's going back to ball score instead of iScore. Okay, that's it. That's an answer. Wonder why. And if you missed the news earlier today, Scott Sanderson passed away.
Oh, he did? I didn't realize that.
62 years old. Apparently, he had a stroke and had his vocal box removed sometime within the last year.
Oh,
so yeah, I saw that. Good to hear, Judo, that you're doing well. Okay, so
I'm going to take a page out of your book, I think, for the White Sox thing. I'm going to kind of follow your lead a little bit with the 82, and maybe for video purposes, do like a game of the week. Because I don't think anybody wants to sit there and watch 162 games of the White Sox.
Well, that's not true. I think what's interesting is the community kind of is one giant experiment of what we think what might work and what we think doesn't work. And there are some things I know it doesn't work, but I think that team's contended till late, and so did the 82 team.
Yeah.
And of course, the 83 team won the division and got bounced by the Orioles in the playoffs. If you had people from Chicago, the Chicago area, I mean, you put a lot of, getting into your 77 White Sox, Chicago replay, you put a lot of work into that. You know what the music was, you go to the newspaper articles, so you know what because things are available today that weren't necessarily available even 5 years ago. I mean, you put a lot of effort into it. For me, it's all part of the journey, which is why I prefer to do seasons and then the playoffs, as opposed to jump in and go through and make every game a championship game.
Yeah.
But
also, my thought process also is that if I do that, if I do the use the PC for a couple games and do maybe 1 or 2 games a week, recording with the cards and dice, I can put a little bit more into each broadcast and maybe more information. Because last couple of videos, I feel like I've been doing them just to get them done.
Yeah, if you feel that way, that's not a good start, and you're just at the beginning of it.
Yeah, and I feel I'd rather be able to put give a backdrop on one of the players, some insights, give a story on one of the players, whether it's White Sox or the team they're playing. Maybe I could give you time to research it and kind of put more into. I'd rather make 2 good broadcasts than 5 so-so broadcasts.
Yep. No, I hear you. But they let me use YouTube anyway. So what the hell? I know that I found with the Action PC that having, just coming in and being like the old NBC or ABC games, you drop in there once a week and, Baltimore and Detroit, because they're tied, you try to get more of that in there. But, a random game between Kansas City and Milwaukee, the computers manage that, and you got to figure out what the computer's done. And, of course, once you start a replay, even if you're using as-played lineups, which I know you're doing, it's a different replay. it's not that, you're very, as soon as you threw that first dice from Toronto and it didn't snow, you're already doing a different replay than what happened during that year. Plus, we have the advantage of knowing what the end of the year stats are.
Right.
So, so someone that might have slumped that started, especially for Toronto, because they slumped the entire year. You're going to stick with somebody because they're terrible? No, you're doing it as played. You got to kind of punch your bottom lip and go, oh, look, Wayne Garland's pitching. Great. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom.
Yeah, and actually, I think I mentioned a couple times for the White Sox, they have this guy named Royal Stillman, and he's been starting at DH for the last few games. I'm like, well, where is Oscar Gamble? Where is Lamar Johnson? Where are these better hitters? But apparently, Bob Lemon found something in Royal Stillman he liked, and I guess down the road he'll bench him. But right now he's in there every day.
How far along are you?
I'm on game, I believe it's 16 or 17. I think it's 17.
Yeah, if you're already feeling kind of, the key is when you start a long-term project like that is you don't rush them. You play when you want to play.
Right.
Strat Delaware is doing Maris and Mantle 61. And, he'll go through and he'll rub out or pump out. Maybe that's a better word than rub out. 5 or 10 games over a short stretch, and he'll put it away for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and it's always there. Okay, Clinton.
Yeah, I really don't want to do that. I want to try to be more consistent with that. Now, I did step away from a little bit to do the History Maker Friends of the Channel, which I really enjoyed doing those 4 games. But now that that's done, I can get back now to doing some other. And plus, I want to do a couple other things, which is why I'm kind of using the PC to help me scoot along a little bit better, because I want to do, like I started with that one video, I want to play on Action PC. I want to play the 2018 Nationals and see if I can, manage them better than Dave Martinez did.
See the cat here? See the cat?
I do see the cat.
Yeah, she could have done a better job than Davey.
Probably.
I started a replay with a 2017 using replay and remember just how terrible that bullpen was. And it was just too close to home. I have no options. I put Coda Glover in as the closer because that's what Dusty should have done in 17 out of the gate. But here are my choices. Sean Kelly, kaboom. Blake Trinan, I'm too scared. And Coda, I slipped in the shower and won't tell you about it for 6 weeks. Glover.
And Sammy Solis is worst.
I love Sammy. His sister. No, yeah, it was his sister, Lou Ann. She was great because when I worked for District on Deck, she would tweet us. I mean, they knew what we were saying about her, and you just felt bad. You just felt because they never used Sammy right. No, but that's a story for a different day. And Clinton says, "Don't broadcast everything," and yeah, I do look a little pale, but it's all coming back. And Clinton, that medication that you're on is what she wants me to do. So I'll start that this weekend. What got you we talked about you getting into History Maker. What was the next? Obviously, this starts to go into progression as you fall down Alice's rabbit hole of gotta have this, gotta have that. What was next for you?
Next one for me was replay baseball. That was my next one. Again, just seeing videos on it. I'm one of these people, I see a video on something, it piques my interest, I watch it again. About a third video, I probably bought the product.
Cards and Dice.
The person doing the video does a good job. Cards and Dice.
That game.
I had the computer too, but I bought Cards and Dice.
I've got the PC version of it. Cards and Dice, that just seems like you roll the dice for everything.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
As box score?
Say again now?
Not as bad as which?
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be But the computer, I actually use Replay Baseball computer to store stats on some of my other league games. Like I'll take a strat season and I can play with that, and I'll put like I'm doing an APA season now, 78 APA, but I have a 78 Replay PC season. So, and I actually did a video I haven't posted yet. I did a video where I played APA, but input on Replay Baseball PC to show people how easy that is to input. Much better than Strat. Strat's difficult to try to do input.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I see why you use Strat to do that, so you get everyone else to play. But
Whereas on replay baseball, if it's a 4-6-3 double play, they've got one button. You hit one button, it runs 4-6-3. On strat, you got to do round out, first guy out, second guy out, second base, short. It's like 5 clicks. Replay, 1 click. Done.
Yeah, ball score 4-6-3 is 0-0-4.
Yeah. I've used ball score. I don't like it. I make too many mistakes in it. I'll be in the 6th inning and something will have messed up and I'll have to restart the whole game.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Unfortunately, the guy that did that is no longer with us, so there's not going to get it going to improve. And thanks for the guidance there, Clinton. I'm already familiar with certain parts of medications and their side effects. We won't go any further with that. Dave Gardner asks,
replay kind of merged into payoff pitch. That was my next one that I got into.
I would love to play payoff pitch.
I wish they had a computer version. I would eat it up.
It just looks like everything that you'd want. A good pitcher batter interaction, the different levels. It just looks.
And 90% is off the cards.
And 90% is off the cards. So Dave Gardner asked, what game would you recommend for a newbie? History Maker would you do that or payoff pitch? Because those seem to be very entry level.
If it's like a teenager, I would say History Maker.
Okay.
For an adult, they might look at History Maker and feel it's too childish. That's a bad word. I would probably
I understand where you're going with that. Yeah.
I would probably say Strat Basic. For somebody new that's just starting out, I would say Strat Basic. Because that still gives you enough realism, but you're not overloaded with a whole bunch of stuff.
Can you finally get hit by a pitch in Strat Basic?
I think so. I don't know. I haven't played Basic in so long. I don't even know.
That was one of the things that people realized, that you couldn't get hit by a pitch. And for someone like Ron Hunt, who got 50 times in a season, or Don Baylor.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate your concern, Clinton Parks. I genuinely do. And we're going to get this work. The medication thing will get worked out. So history and payoff pitch and action. How'd you fight action?
I'm trying to remember. I think I just saw it on I may have even seen an advertise. You know what? I think I just Googled computer baseball, and it came up along with other things.
That's how my wife's credit card got in trouble. Just Googling.
And then every time he has a sale for half off, it's like, I got to get a couple more seasons. So I've got more seasons than I can ever get around to playing. But it's nice to hear. It's like I got a bunch of movies on DVD I hardly ever watch, but if I feel like watching them one day, I can always, it's there to pull out. I may never do a season replay, but if I want to play a one-off game from 1961, I can do it.
That's true. Do you do stuff with logos and all that? Actually, I think you do, right?
The only thing I can't figure out yet, and it's not an option on my screen, and if it's something I got to do a mod for, is I can't get the uniforms. Uniform section is blank.
Oh.
The logos are there, but the uniform section is blank.
You got to download the uniforms.
You got to download or what?
You got to download them. If you really
are they in the game themselves, or
are they
a mod?
They're a mod. And they just go right in the uniform folder. There's a uniforms folder in your DK Sports.
Where do you get the mod?
If you're nice, we'll take care of you. I think I might have found them on sportsreplay.net. I have them.
Oh, okay.
I might even have the zip file of them.
I'm also trying to find player photos from 2018 because
those are tough.
Ballpark doesn't have them. So.
Those are tough. They're not there by year. Have to be, and Al says they have to be JPEG. I can 18. I think someone finally posted them. And as long as they're JPEGs, you can get them from any other game. I mean, the Strat has the alias files, but I think those are all BMPs.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I like to be able to find out those player photos from 2018. What website to download them from or whatever.
There's the one guy that's got like the 38,000 pictures, which is what I use. But people started to complain that you got players on the wrong team. So I found.
Yeah, I think Clinton brought this up. He doesn't like to see players in the wrong uniform on a PC game, and I'm one of those.
Yeah, it wasn't too difficult. You just renamed it.
When I was playing the Nationals one the other day, Anthony Rendon was from his Harrisburg Senator jersey. Bryce Harper from a Syracuse Chief jersey or something.
Wow.
It was really out there,
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
So a lot of times now I just turn the player photos off. I just leave the logos on and turn the player photos off.
Clinton says he just makes them out of the baseball cards. And there's several places that you can find them. If you're not a member of Tabletop Sports over at Delphi, don't read it too often; it'll make your head bleed. But there's some places where you can get the mods for headshots for that. Al Red Sox fan put a link. Brian's ballparks.com players.html.
All right, I'll check that out later.
So yeah, that's a good
Thank
one.
You,
yeah, and we've got the uniforms that go back to 1900 because I have every season that goes back to 1900, and it's a wonderful addition to the game. Okay, so how did you find the community? What got you into it? You've been doing this obviously for a little while.
How did I find the community?
Yes.
I think I found him through ID Jester, to be honest with you.
It wasn't Al.
I don't think it was Al. I think it was ID.
Okay.
And then ID, of course, I think Al was in one of ID's broadcast or, commenting, and I found Al that way. And so I subscribed to Al, and then I started getting the chats and like, oh, this is pretty cool. It's almost like,
multiple game disorders and all that.
It's like the Tonight Show,
We try, we do. Carol Wayne's not there, or Teresa Ganzel, or none of us are going to do Art Fern later.
Well, I keep telling Al I want you and him to co-broadcast the Action PC game where you're the play-by-play man, Al is the color commentator.
Oh man, that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Like a dual broadcast or something. See what kind of shenanigans they come up
with. We're working on it. Dave Gardner and I spent some time before I got on with you trying to figure out how to get to coach against each other.
Yeah. We're
going to try to figure that one out as well. Sports Time Machine is there. It was on our chat last week. How you doing, buddy? They're for Strap, but you can use them for Action PCs from there. Okay.
Oh, cool.
So you've got lots of different games. So your History Maker is what you're using, and Payoff Pitch, and I see you doing some action. I haven't seen a lot of Strat though in your videos.
Just the White Sox.
Just the White Sox.
I mean, I did tournaments and stuff. I had a thing called May Madness that I did a couple years in a row for Strat, like a 64 team elimination, like March Madness, but I called it May Madness.
Mm-hmm.
I would just take teams from different eras and play them in a one elimination game. I think the 69 Orioles won the first tournament I did.
You did better than Earl. Congratulations. Weaver, that is, if someone else is watching, because it wasn't meant to slam as tabletops or whatever.
Not necessarily to go all the way back to the beginning, but one of the reasons why I got into doing the cards and dice and doing the video and all this other stuff is that when I was growing up, there was two things I wanted to be as a kid. I wanted to be a manager and I wanted to be a broadcaster. And this kind of allows me in a backwards way to do both.
To do both, absolutely. And you're good at both.
So that's my appeal. That's the appeal to me, is to do that.
Is there a style of broadcaster? I mean, like I said, you're a very good nuts and bolts broadcaster. But you root for teams that didn't have nuts and bolts broadcasters.
Exactly.
So who is your broadcasting idol?
Actually, if you may or may not have been around the Mid-Atlantic area or familiar with the Orioles at the time, but there was a guy named Mel Proctor that I grew up
I know Mel. Yeah.
Him and John Lowenstein were perfect together back in the 80s, early 90s for the Orioles. They were great. But Mel Proctor was the straight man to John Lowenstein's shenanigans. So
I'll have to try to YouTube some of that. I know some of Mel's work, but I'm not familiar with Lowenstein's.
Oh, Lowenstein was hilarious. He was hilarious. There was one game in 1987. I think I still have it on tape, videotape, mind you, VHS. Can't play it on anything, but I think I have it somewhere, where the Tigers hit 3 home runs in the 9th inning to tie the game. Orioles were up by 3 against Tom Niedenfuhr. And after the first 2 home runs, Cal Sr. comes out to visit Tom Niedenfuhr. And they're talking about how frustrating Cal Sr. is with everything. And the words out of Lowenstein's mouth is, Cal Ripken Sr. does not need this kind of aggravation. Very next batter, Matt Noakes, home run. Actually, no, I'll take it back. It was Bill Madlock. It was his third home run of the game.
Oh
So
God.
yeah, it was back to back to back. It was John Grubb, Matt Noakes, and Bill Madlock back to back to back in 1987 Tigers Stadium. Sometime in the summer, I don't remember the date. You can look it up in Retro Sheet or whatever.
Yeah, let's see. The Tigers.
All of them off of Tom Needfewer.
Poor Tom Needfewer.
Who also gave us a Jack Clark home run in '85.
And the Ozzie Smith homer in '85.
Oh, I didn't realize he was the Ozzie Smith guy. I knew it was Jack Clark.
Go crazy, folks. Go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mill was a good nuts and bolts broadcaster. And Gary's a good nuts and Gary gets excited.
Yeah. But I mean, he was funny, but he still, I thought, solid was Skip Carey. I always enjoyed Skip Carey.
Skip was very fair. You knew he was rooting for. Yeah. But he was very fair. And
But I used to like his promos. He would have to give promos they didn't want to give for TBS. Like, after the game, they were going to have this big wrestling show on. And he's like, he was reading off all the names of the people who are going to be on the show. And he gets to Dusty Rhodes. And he says, and there's some guy named Dusty Rhodes who says he's the American dream. Speak for yourself, pal. Or something like, some snide comic like that. And then one time when they were playing Pittsburgh and they thought the game was going to be over, but Terry Harper hits a home run off Bob Walk to keep the innings going. And he says, and Jacques Cousteau continues to warm up in the TBS bullpen or something.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So I just liked his kind of humor, I guess.
There was one game they were doing, maybe it was when they were doing dinner and a movie or whatever. And Casablanca will start right after this double play. 6, 4, 3. Game over. Brave Blues.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for Casablanca, not in color on TBS.
Yeah, there you go. And this was back before anybody knew who John Sterling really was. So you got to start there.
He was a clown then.
He's became famous.
Oh, man. I don't mind Waldman. I think she always sounds like she's eating a salad. But, gosh.
I mean, she actually has good commentary and speaks intelligently about the game and makes good insights.
And then there's Sterling.
Yeah.
Waldman,
he's just trying to come up with his next home run chant. That's all his next home run call. He's always trying to come up with. Yeah.
It is high. It is far. It is an A-bomb from A-Run. It always sounded like
Yankees win. Yeah, that kind of.
Always sounded like what's his name? Thurston Howell. Jim Backus.
Oh yeah, Jim Backus. Yeah, Yale man.
Mr. Magoo. It is high. It is far. I'm ready to pull. Susan Waldman was an opera singer in Boston. Trained opera singer. And she was a baseball fan. She was a regular at Fenway Park, and she was good friends with Sherm Feller, who was the PA announcer for the Red Sox back in the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Fenway Park. That was Sherm Feller. And so he encouraged her to get into the journalism side. He had the foresight to realize that there are going to be more beat reporters and that women were going to get some roles in that. And so he was the one that, encouraged her to do some reporting on the side and to send a tape down to little WFAN radio in New York. And she was the first voice ever heard on WFAN.
Wow.
After the changeover from being a country station, she was the Yankee beat reporter from day one, July 1, 87, until she became Ma Yankee. And she's earned her stripes. She's stuck with.
Yeah. And I've got Sirius XM, so I get them, but I can still get them on the AM station, 660, all the way down here at nighttime.
Oh, sure. That's, her story's quite good. She can be a little overboard at times, but, I've always given her the benefit of the doubt. And Sterling's the one that called the camp homer on that July 4th game.
Oh, that's right. The home run that tied the game and kept it going.
I had it. It's like 10 or 4 in the morning.
I'm not sure was that off Tom Gorman. I don't remember who the pitcher was.
Someone will tell me who it was off of here because they're very good at telling me my mistakes.
I can look up stuff and figure out who it was off of. I don't remember who it was
off.
But they ended up losing the game anyway. I think
I slept. I was summer of '85. I was 13, and would sleep with the radio on, which drove my mother nuts. And I remember, rolling over in the middle of the night, and they would go through this. You wake up enough to hear the scores, and I figured the wire machine must be broken. How can the Mets and Braves still be playing? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, if I had used half a brain, I would have turned the television on because it was a radio TV combo and watched the end of that game. But I didn't. Right. It was they're talking about something else. Yeah. Let's see what else. So, what's your fastest? So, the White Sox in '77. Besides the fact that they're good, their uniforms weren't good. Those were hideous damn things.
Especially in '76 when they wore shorts.
Oh, I'm trying to think of '77. I think they had ripped up the infield and put the grass back, right? Because Comiskey was right. Weird place.
It was half and half. It was turf in the infield and grass in the outfield for a time.
And Harry called the games. It was Harry
called the games.
Or Jimmy Pearsall.
Yeah.
There was some serious beer drinking during those games. Let me tell you.
Sure, there was.
With those two, my goodness gracious. So, but yeah, it's fun. But you just got to find a pace that you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Dale Murphy's a rookie in that '77 top set. He's one of those four-panel players.
Yep, sure was.
Yep.
Rick Cerrone was also on there. Needless fact.
Wow.
He was on the floor in the picture. I didn't like those cards. When I was collecting baseball cards when I was little, anything that had 4 pictures on it, I traded away. I liked the ones that had better uniforms. So, like, I would trade, rookies. I didn't know what I was doing.
Exactly. Same here.
What? I like the picture on this guy. He's got a cooler picture. I want that card. So I ended up with like 15 Jerry Royces or something. So
the airbrushing. I was in my 30s when I realized that the Topps football cards from that era didn't have a logo on them.
That's why I didn't collect them. I didn't like them. They were fake. That's why I never collected them.
The Rear Admiral says he's old enough to remember when Kurt Gowdy, Art Gleason, Ned Martin, and Mel Parnell called Red Sox games. I'd remember Ned.
And of course, Topps back in the day in the late 70s were very good at airbrushing. So you'd see guys like,
very, very good. Like terrible.
Yeah. There's one Dave Kingman played in 4 teams in 1977. I think he played on 4 different teams. And they airbrushed him a Cubs uniform, but he was with the Padres and the Yankees and the Mets, I believe. And all in the same, or Angel. I think he played all 4 divisions. He had the record of playing all 4 divisions.
Which was
77.
Why did he bounce around so much? Because he did bounce around forever. Hit a lot of home runs, but struck out.
Yeah, he hit a lot of home runs and struck out. So, boy, think about how much he would strike out now using launch angles and stuff like that. So
he'd be Chris Davis.
Yeah, sure would.
Or Rob Deere.
But he'd actually hit a home run once in a while. Like Chris Davis.
That's true. So. That's true. Well, Rob Deere hit his fair share of home runs. Pete Incaviglia was one of those guys that struck out a ton too. Without being specific, what kind of work do you do?
Oh, I work for an insurance company.
Okay. So that's
in the financial side, not in the selling, but just in like bookkeeping and bill collecting and accounting type stuff. I'm a bean counter.
One of those people that your love of baseball and statistics really helped you get comfortable with math.
Yeah, exactly. I was a math major, and that's what I graduated college with, was a math science degree.
All because somebody hit 275 in 1976. And you can figure that out.
Because my stats professor was a baseball fan too, and I remember this in 1987. He did a question on Tom Lawless, who hit 080 for the Cardinals in 1987, but hit the home run off of Frank Viola.
The bat flip,
Stadium. The bat flip, yeah. He walked halfway down the line, then flipped the bat.
Yeah.
But he actually, one of the questions on our test was Tom Lawless. He was one of the questions.
That's
I forget what the question was, but it had something to do with what is his probability? He hits 080, what's the probability he does this 10 times or something like that. But he used a sports analogy to make a question, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's awesome. All right, we're going to open it up to your questions for the next 20 minutes or so. So if you got a question for Dave, baseball demos, now is the time to do that. Desert, obviously 77 is your favorite season. Strat would be the one game if you were stuck on the desert island.
If I can only have one card set and one game, it would be the 77 Strat set.
Have you ever done a full season, 2,430 game? Could you do it?
Oh, no, 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 no. I mean, I've only done 162 games once, and that was with History Maker. I've never done it with Strat. This is my first attempt doing it with Strat.
And with the
I've done on computer, but not. I've done on computer, but not cards and dice. I've done computer full season on Diamond Mine. I've did several full season replays on Diamond Mine, but on
playing
Strat,
every game.
never. No, no. I would just pick a team.
Pick a team. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'd take the 82 Orioles or somebody and play them out and let the computer play everything else.
That's kind of cool. Do you still play Status Pro?
Once every, it's in my drawer right over here. But I mean, I'm almost like, it's kind of bad to say. It's like I've got so many different games. I don't know which one to play next. You know, I've got this, that. I got APA. I got History Maker. I got Insight. It's like, how many games can you get, dude? And it's like, I need to just focus on something here.
The support meeting is after the show, okay?
Yeah. But it's just like, you know, I'll watch a video, I'll get an itch, and I'll go scratch it by pulling out a Status Pro, or I'll pull out an APA or whatever. You know, whatever happens. You know, if I catch a video, sometimes it will just perk an interest in me. Like I haven't played Payoff Pitch in a while, but since I've seen IG Jester play some Payoff Pitch games, it's kind of getting us, you know, get me in the mood again. So we have to go pull that out.
Yeah, and Combat Painter is now halfway through his 80 or 79 Met season.
79, yeah, 79, yeah. And then I just recently bought for replay the cards and the card set of 1980.
That's
of course, you know, Strat did the same thing with 1980, and everybody's focusing on George Brett, you know, hitting the 390 or whatever. But I think to me, a hidden gem in 1980 is Go Go Jar Show. Joe Charbonneau.
1 year, yeah,
one of the biggest ones there was. They even had a song. It was like, you know, like a song they wrote about Go Go Joe Charbonneau.
And
so I thought about playing.
Steve Stone Cy Young Award year, as you mentioned beforehand.
That's the year he robbed Mike Norris of the Cy Young.
And you know, the last 300 inning pitcher came in 1980.
Steve Carlton.
Steve Carlton, very good. And the West came down to a playoff between the Dodgers and the. I mean, that 80 is a great year.
Yeah, I believe they had a 1-game playoff, didn't they? At the end of the season,
they did. It was the first ever 1-game National League playoff.
And actually, the 80 NLCS was a great series.
Tremendous,
with the Phillies.
Absolutely tremendous with the Phillies in 5 and.
The ALCS was kind of poor because the Kansas City's kind of took care of the Yankees.
Speak for yourself. I was in a hotel room in Seabrook, New Hampshire, on a mini family vacation because it was off season and we were next to a nuclear power plant, so the room was incredibly cheap. And we watched that on Game 3 on a black and white television in the hotel room. Can you imagine that? A black and white TV in a hotel room in 1980. And one of my favorite childhood memories is Brett hitting the homer and Steinbrenner putting the jacket over his finger and walking out. Like, yeah, justice has been served.
They're good. Justice has been served.
Justice has been served.
They made up for 77 and 78. They paid them back.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I hate those Yankees.
I thought the 77 Royals team was much better than the Yankees 77 team, but they just happened to win the series.
I could not root for the Padres in '84 because they had Nettles and Gossage.
Oh yeah, from the.
You know, Garvey was okay. And I just kind of wondered in my 12-year-old head how the hell Garvey and Nettles could be in the same room together because.
Okay. Yeah.
Hush, unsubscribe.
What's that?
No, it's absolutely true, Ken Castro. Hotel in Seabrook. My mother, remember, we went to stay at a Best Western. My mother's going, "Oh, how come this is so cheap?" I said, "You do realize this is within like 2 miles of Homer Simpson. Well, no Homer Simpson then, but of a nuclear power plant, right?" Oh, yeah. Let's see what else. Any other questions for Mr. Dave? What do you enjoy? Obviously you're doing some projects. What project on your channel have you done that you've enjoyed the most? If you were to point someone to say, watch these series of games, I think you'll. I mean, outside of my 2 outstanding pitching performances in the Friends of the Community, but no, big series.
Yeah, we can't count that would be biased to count that. So
yes,
I think the ones I had the most fun doing, I think, was the May Madness tournament, Strat May Madness, because it was the one and done aspect. I like anything it's a tournament, versus a whole season. You can play them a lot quicker, and there's always this, one game and you're out. So you got to be really, it's almost like pressure back.
It's intense. But the thing I find about tournaments in baseball, because I've had requests to do them, is that you play those games so differently. I
Yes,
mean,
that became the World Series every time.
right. And then so yes, it's intense, but it's not. I mean, in football, you expect it.
Yeah.
In a short series in basketball or an NCAA game of basketball, you kind of expect it. But it so goes against what baseball to be is all about. It's the grind in that. But no, it makes for great stuff. We already asked them.
Yeah, go ahead. What was the question?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want a really good laugh, though, go back and watch if you can find it. I guess you can search by my videos on the channel or whatever. The very first History Maker game I did, game one of the 1987 Atlanta Braves season, where I tried to make it like a television broadcast, and I came out as Kip Scary and tried to imitate Skip Carey, but I call myself Kip Scary.
Kip Scary.
I did the PA announcer announcing the rosters. I had the baseball cards out saying, here, in left field is such and such. It's kind of very, very corny now looking back on it, but it was fun to do. So.
Hey, whatever it is to have fun. Clinton, he still plays kind of status pro. It's tucked in his desk. And if you're interested to know that Dick Hauser, the name, because it has Dick, it got held in the folder, in the queue for me to approve it because.
Really? Because of that.
Yeah. Because it was a bad Dick Hauser.
Oh, wow.
Ken Castro asked if you were part of the Clamshell Alliance.
What is that?
I have no idea what that is, and I saw it and going, well, maybe he'll know what the hell it is.
You said clam, like CLAM? Is that what you
said? CLAM, Sheel, SHEEL.
Clamshell? Well, I don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
I don't know. I'm obviously not part of it because I don't know what it is.
Oh, good. Logacta Live is there. That was for Ron. Clamshell Alliance. I still have no idea what that is.
And actually, an interesting fact. I don't know. Maybe not necessarily they're not necessarily an integral part of our community, but I still consider them part of the YouTube gaming community. The two Earls.
Absolutely.
Tabletop Earl and Tenacious Earl. Well, before those two got together, Tabletop Earl actually asked me if I wanted to do something with him, but my equipment was so bad he had to go to Tenacious. He said, you can't hack it. You're old school. You need better. He wanted to Skype with me one time. I said, what the heck is a Skype? So this was years ago. So
okay. The Clamshell Alliance was a nuclear protest group in Seabrook, New Hampshire. Seabrook, not too far from Boston. Built nuclear
he must
plants
have there. I'm not from that area, so I don't know.
Because Clinton, at 6 years old, I was all about protesting for nuclear power or against nuclear power. I guess we protested against that. Just made the hotel.
And if we had bronze, we burned.
I didn't remember the name of that, but it makes a lot of sense since you're by the beaches in Maine to have that would be the Clamshell Alliance. So there you go. Yeah. I thought it was some sort of insurance question.
Yeah, I didn't know where he was going with that.
I didn't either. I didn't either. Let's see. Logacta Live is a big soccer simulation using the classic game for the North American Soccer League. You don't feature other sports on your channel. Do you game other sports or no?
I purchased two other games. I purchased a hockey game and a football game from Play.com.
Okay.
I played each one about twice, but I figure if I want to I only get a limited amount of time to enjoy the hobby. And if I'm playing one of those games, I'm not playing baseball. So it's taking me away from my baseball.
Right.
So I have them, and I think I believe I did one unboxing of the hockey game when I got it in the mail. And that's the only non-baseball one that's on the videos, period, was that unboxing of the hockey game.
They're calling us kids in the chat.
They're calling us what?
Kids.
Kids?
Yes.
Why are we?
Because we didn't know who the Clamshell Alliance.
Who the Alliance?
Yes.
Oh.
It's Clinton Parks. Don't worry. We've heard of Methuselah.
I thought he was using subliminally the acronym CSA, which is Confederate States of America. I thought he was going down that route.
No, it was Clamshell Alliance, and I honestly thought it was, like some sort of spreadsheet for actuary tables. To be completely honest.
Oh, okay.
But I figured it was a that. So okay. Yes, we know how old you are. 658. Actually, Clinton is 63. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, he's ahead of me.
So baseball is your primary focus, and we've already talked about.
Right.
Have you tried OOTP?
I downloaded and played a few games, but it's okay. It's just not necessarily my bag.
Yep.
Personally, I prefer other games. So I mean, I have it on the computer, so if I get the itch, I'll pull it up. But
you talk about fiction. You talked about the fictional part.
Fictional stuff.
Perfect for that. They don't get caught up about who's being what in there, and the fictional part I enjoy a great deal.
In fact, I reworked my fictional league that I'm going to be starting on History Maker Baseball because I'm actually 12 teams was too many to handle, so I'd cut it down to 10. I whittled it down to 10. I'm using Tenacious Earl's 10-54 model, 10 teams, 54 games. And this format has what they call instant results table. So you can just play your games and the roll one set of the dice. One set of the dice, you can simulate the other game's wins and losses just by the rolls of the dice. And so I was sitting there thinking, and of course, the team I'm going to be playing as is, I don't think it shows on camera or not. Let's see if I can get it on camera or not here. The Ticonderoga Stooges. Ticonderoga Stooges are my team. And the one team I added in, I took away two teams, but the one team I added in is from Muncie, Indiana, called the Muncie. If I can get it on here right, can I get this on here right? The Muncie Ball Busters. Yeah, Muncie Ball Busters.
Muncie Ball Busters.
They will be in the league as well. So, and I'll think like about it has umpires. It's the only game that has umpires.
That when you were playing, and you had the different ones for the dead ballers and the minor ones from whatever.
Right.
And that was awesome.
And how CB Buckner was not questionable or Angel Hernandez was not questionable, I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I mean, that's just.
I think CB Buckner is questionable, but Angel Hernandez certainly should have been. He certainly isn't respected.
But
it's just an extra thing that adds to it. I think you have chemistry, you have experience.
It's
things like if you get a rookie hitter against in our games when you were pitching for us, you got a lot of outs because you were an icon. I mean that gave you a lot of outs.
Yes, I am.
Because Adrian in 2002 was an icon. So
yes, he was.
So benefited quite a bit from that. And those nice double flashes where you strike out two guys at one time. That was always good too.
Yes. That's awesome.
But the thing I like about it too is it's the only game you can create. I can't take Strat and create players for Strat.
No, I don't know you can do it on the computer, but you really can't for. But
for this, right. I can create anybody, whether it's fictional. I made a minor league set and put it on the Play website. Play's got it on their website. I made the 2002 International League season set just on my own. Just made it up and based on the ratings book, and that was fun. I played a few games for that.
Is Keith good with the community?
Excuse me?
Is Keith good with the community?
Keith very good. Yeah. I can on Instant Messenger on Facebook. I can ask him a message. He'll get right back to me. I haven't tried that. I don't think I'd want to.
Sports Time Machine asks your favorite sports teams.
Favorite sports teams in all sports?
Yes.
Football is Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow, you're just a glutton for punishment.
Yeah. Actually, this is another true story. Going back to 1971, I was actually a Miami Dolphin. I was actually a Kansas City Chiefs fan back when they beat the Vikings in the Super Bowl. But on Christmas Day, when Garo Upremian kicked the field goal to beat the Chiefs, I became a Dolphins fan. Still kept it being a Chiefs fan, but then I saw I had like two teams, whoever was doing better, that's what I went for. The last few years, Kansas City is who I'm going for because Miami is down in the dumps. Basketball, I've always been a Laker fan. Yay. I've always been a Laker fan from Kareem to Magic, 9 yards. So the Bird Magic thing really, I lost interest in the NBA when they retired. That was the
weren't they fun though? I mean, weren't they fun? I mean, weren't they just absolutely fun?
It was I mean, it was every year the same seven. It was a 7-game series. You knew it was going to be a 7-game series, and
they were title fights. Those
yeah.
games were absolute title fights, especially when Detroit finally got the Lakers. I mean, but yeah, at the Garden with the no hot water in the visitors' locker room, yeah,
and the beat LA chants and all this other stuff. And I think they had some problems sometimes with ice, maybe going up in the court and making the court wet or something.
Oh yeah,
or the no air conditioning in the things, you're sweating the people out.
Now that I've gotten the like from Dave Gardner, it's the only useful thing the Bruins ever did was to make the court wet.
Yeah, and I believe I think they fixed it now. But back in the day, I believe Boston Garden, didn't the Bruins play on an ice that wasn't quite official length? That
was an ancient arena. It was built in the 20s.
Yeah, I don't think it was regulation length. I think it was. I remember correctly. I think it was
two. It wasn't long enough.
Yeah. So anyway, Kansas City for football, Lakers for basketball. Of course, I don't follow NBA hardly anymore, but when I did, it was the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy college basketball much more than pro.
In Virginia, you just won the national championship.
Yeah, but I'm not a Virginia fan. So. Yeah. I graduated from VCU, so I'm a VCU fan.
Oh, the Commonwealth.
Yes.
A good friend of mine used to work with as a sophomore at Tech. Virginia Tech.
And of course, I enjoyed that Final Four run they had with Shaka Smart, but that was a once in a lifetime kind of thing. So everything just happened to fit in right for him that year. So
it normally has to anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, it's fun to watch. I mean, Atlantic 10 is not the big time, but it's decent basketball.
It absolutely is.
And I'm trying to think what other sports are. I'm not really a hockey fan, so I can't really say I guess the Capitals because they're close, but I could care less if they win or lose. I don't really follow it. I might watch the playoffs, but I'm not.
They're playing
hockey
right
to
now,
me is much more. Hockey to me is much more enjoyable in person than it is on TV. But baseball I can watch on TV. It doesn't matter to me. But
yeah, I can watch any type of baseball. My wife thinks I'm nuts. Yeah. Like what? Yeah. You're watching what? Baseball. Can't you put on a football game? No, it's baseball season. Can't you put on?
And actually, being a buddy of mine, one of our biggest things we do in the fall is go to high school football games. We're big into following our own.
Is it actually a big deal in Virginia? Still?
Yeah, certainly is. Of course, the rival school has won our state championship 4 years in a row, so we're trying to get somebody else to beat them. But and we were 1-9 last year, so we won't talk about that. But,
Oof.
Yeah, we started the season 1-0. We're in the top 10 ranking, and then lost 9 in a row, giving up at least 35 points every game. So it was a very frustrating season. So went from 2-8 to 8-2 and back to 1-9.
Sounds like watching Michigan play. When will we ever beat Ohio State? When?
But we just like going there because we like the atmosphere with the bands and seeing the kids get excited and parents get excited.
So intense. I mean, the quality is not as good as obviously what you're going to see on a Sunday, but the passion is real.
Oh yeah.
So
the parents in the jerseys really get into it.
So you grew up in Richmond, you went to college in Richmond, and you still live in Richmond.
That's right. Well, actually, I live in Petersburg now, which is about 20 miles south.
Oh, Gaithersburg.
Yeah.
And ID Jester says he will never beat Ohio State, never being in all caps. Just get over it. So Gaithersburg, Virginia.
Yeah, Petersburg.
Oh, Petersburg. I'm sorry. Gaithersburg's in Maryland.
Yeah, Petersburg. It's about 20 minutes out. And it's not too far from where Jackie Bradley Jr. is from, which is Prince George, Virginia.
I'm being taunted in the chat.
JBJ is from here.
Taunted in the chat.
And then Justin Verlaine is from Goochland, which is a subsidiary.
Oh, is he? Yeah. And Jackie Bradley Jr. is so much fun. The defense is so much fun to watch. It's bad.
Yeah.
But
unfortunately, none of the Virginia colleges gave him a scholarship, so he went to South Carolina. I don't know why they wouldn't give him a scholarship. Of course, they never gave Russell Wilson a scholarship either, which shows how stupid they are.
Oh, man.
Virginia, I mean, the Virginia schools could have had him, but they didn't want him, so he ended up going to Wisconsin.
And you got Ralph Sampson, though.
Yeah, I got Ralph Sampson, but whatever.
So 20 miles north or minutes north or south of Richmond?
South.
Okay.
But I work on the other side of it. I have a 50-minute commute every day through traffic.
Oh, wow.
because I have to go north of Richmond for work, but that's just whatever. That's part of life.
Decent sports talk radio in the morning, or no?
On my commute home. If I'm not listening to sports talk radio, I probably got one of you guys' videos on if you're streaming.
We try, and we glad.
Or I put a best of on. I just find an old one I want to listen to that I've missed maybe and put that on. So
got the playlist. So
I mean, whether it's you, Al, ID, Dave Gardner, whoever, I'll find somebody.
Yep. There's always a French game on somewhere. So which is great.
And it was kind of funny the other day. I was watching one of Rob's videos, and Rob exclamation point was doing a live video as I was driving home. And I'm trying to type comments to him while I'm driving. He's like,
"Don't do that. You crashed the car. You're an insurance person. You should know the risks of that."
Yes. So I got to be careful of that. So now what I do is I set the phone in the passenger seat and just listen. And that way it's not in front of me, so I'm not tempted to look. I just listen.
And Rob's are you in Rob's car series?
Yes. I'm doing awful, but I'm in there. I think I finished like 15th every time. So I must have picked. I'm getting bad rolls too, because sometimes like I get a gas pedal of 6 when everybody else is getting 2 and passing the great Steve Towerline passing the gas.
Driving the Taco Bell car then, are we?
Yes.
How you doing, Laser King? Good to have you along. Does he work near Doswell?
Doswell.
I'm
about 15 minutes south of that.
Okay.
That's where King's Dominion is. It's a big amusement park.
That's right. It's a Six Flags thing, right?
I guess. But I know they have a King's something in Ohio too.
Didn't that used to be Busch Gardens?
No, there's 2 separate entities. Busch Gardens is in Williamsburg.
Okay.
Yeah. They have a Kings Island, I think, in Ohio. This is King's Dominion. They have the miniature Eiffel Tower. It's like their signature thing.
Oh.
It's just an amusement park, a bunch of roller coasters and so forth.
So if someone came to you and watched this and would watch your videos and go through all the work that you do, what would you say if they were to ask why you do this? What would you tell them?
Well, kind of sort of answered it earlier. Like I said, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a manager.
About the games itself, not necessarily about being the manager and broadcaster, but what do you get out of the? Or maybe it is the same answer. The games itself. If someone like Dave Gardner was to come up to you and say, what do you get out of this as far as actually playing? Would that be what you would give as an answer?
There's reminiscing. I'm looking at players I grew up watching. So the names I'm seeing these names for guys I've forgotten about. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. So like when the White Sox are playing Oakland's like, Jerry Tabb, I kind of remember that name, but I don't really know him that well. But I remember Rick Langford, or some of these other guys. So a lot of it's doing that. Some of it's like an escape. I mean, you go to work all day and you want to come home and unwind a little bit, and that's like my escape. So. And even if I'm not broadcasting, I'm just playing something just on the tabletop for my own use. It's the manager aspect. I like the manager aspect. Being manager both teams. Somebody said, "How do you manage both teams?" Like, it's very, very simple.
Yeah, no, that's I think one of the greatest things about cards and dice is you got to think for both. I mean, you can cheat and vary, but there's no fun in that. If
you're not going to play it straight up, then what's the point? I mean, to me, I manage both sides, so it's like, all right, we got a left-handed batter coming up to the plate. Manager A is going to bring in a left-handed reliever to face that. Well, manager B is going to counter that with a right-handed pinch hitter. So I'll make both those moves. It's just I just do whatever I think the manager would do in that situation, or a normal manager would do in such a situation.
ID asks, ask Dave if you could run one organization, which one would it be and why?
I could run one organization.
Yeah.
I'd run the Nationals. I think it's a gold mine waiting to be had.
You'd think
their fan base is outrageous.
You'd think
the
so.
The support there is outrageous. They're just dying for a winner. The Redskins have been bad for so long, and the Wizards have been bad for so long.
But the Caps won last year.
They do have the Capitals, but
it just changed the whole night. I knew when I wrote for them that if they could just get out of the league divisional series, that they could own that town. It's a daily thing. The team was good. The team was more than good. that they could own that. And as the Caps made that run last summer, I'm going, oh no, here's that once in a generation thing, and it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, the night that Ovi's sitting there getting drunk out of the Stanley Cup itself, throwing the first pitch. Oh, you know, good for the hockey team. I mean, the Caps suffered a long time.
I mean, to be fair to the Nationals, I did think they did get a bad rip against the Cubs on that. There was a call where they called they should have called batter interference when Wieters was trying to make a catch of a foul ball, but they didn't call it. And there was a big controversy, and a few runs came in later, and the rest was history.
And Dusty didn't argue it, yeah.
Yeah, and they brought Scherzer in relief, which I would have done the same thing, but he just didn't have it. So,
Bobby Catalano asked why there are no cats in this stream. Here you go.
Well, my cat's somewhere. I don't know where she went.
Here you go, Bobby.
My cat's in hiding. So
yeah, I mean that's what they do. She's asleep back there.
Yeah. There'll be plenty of time for cats later.
Yeah.
How about cats? We can have that.
What do you think of today's game? What do you think of baseball in 2019?
What do I think of the sport in general, or the races in general?
In general,
I think there's too many strikeouts. I think they don't let pitchers pitch long enough, and I think there's too many shifts.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the shift.
Yeah.
The Cats will.
I think the pace of the game is fine. It's just the commercials that are and I've noticed they cut down that because when I'm watching a DVR baseball game, I don't have to fast forward quite as far to get to the next inning. But I do a couple clicks and they're already starting the next inning, so they've sped that up a little bit. But I turned on the game last night and Bob Costas was announcing, so I turned it off.
Dave, when they were up 14-0, you know, you're just like, thank you.
Yeah, but Bob Costas was doing, I think it was the Cubs game or something the other night, and I can't watch this. I can't listen to Bob Costas.
You know, the thing with Bob used to be funny. Bob.
He used to be in the
day.
You
know, when Bob was with Tony Kubek in the 80s, I mean, that they were just as good as Scully and Gary Giola. You go back and watch the Ryan Sandberg game on YouTube. I mean, that's just a classic call. He knew when to be funny.
Against the Cardinals, and he hit like 7 RBIs.
From the 8th inning on. He had the homer in the 9th off of Suter and then beat him in the 11th or 12th or whatever it was. I mean, it was one of those crazy games from that year. And, I mean, Costas could have fun with you. And he made Kubek laugh.
Yeah.
Which was never an easy thing to do. And then he knew enough of the game to know when to be serious. And today when you watch a Bob Costas game, it's like, no, I really don't need to hear about any more Mickey Mantle stories. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Please shut up.
Well, he does have John Smoltz with him, which helps because John Smoltz is really good, so that helps a little bit. But I think Bob Costas is better off in being like a studio guy doing highlights than trying to do the whole game.
Yeah, you know, I got excited because Costas was doing baseball again. Like, no. You know, if I know where to get my fix of 1960s, 70s, and 80s baseball. Hell, I can recreate whatever I want on the computer. But if
you asked one time before about people that not that I pattern myself after, but maybe influenced me, the radio guys, TV guys, announcers. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys that I think I subliminally follow, I guess, is Charlie Steiner with the Dodgers.
Charlie's good.
He has that slow, perfect for radio, not for TV, but for radio. He can really tell a story. Really, his pace is just the right for me because I'm more of a type B person. So his pace is laid back and more my style than, you know, somebody that's like John Sterling or whatever.
You know, it's funny because Steiner was Sterling's partner for a while.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. When Michael Kay went to television full time, because it was Sterling and Kay, and I don't mind Michael Kay. I know a lot of people don't like him, but you know, I don't hate him. And so it was Charlie Steiner. It was Steiner that actually called the Aaron Boone homer.
Oh wow!
Man, they must have clashed because Steiner is super intelligent, very New York, as much of a boxing expert as Al is, and then he gets stuck with the showman.
Yeah. And I would say another guy that influenced me quite a bit, or just that I like a lot, is John Miller, because I think he brings humor to the broadcast, but he's got a nice pace as well.
Speaking of being stuck with dead ends for a long time with Joe Morgan, great player.
But he would do some great impressions of Vin Scully and some of these other announcers. He was just great.
He was fantastic with the Orioles. I don't really remember him he was fired by the Red Sox, by the way.
But he's a Giant. I hear him with the Giants now, but he
Yeah,
was with the
he's
Orioles.
wonderful with the Giants, and he's relaxed. Herb Score was a legend, and people loved Tom Hamilton with Cleveland, and Costas. I think Costas got Olympic fever, and tried to be too much of. I mean, the big difference between you could be good at telling stories, but I think you got to be careful of not becoming the story.
Yeah. And I don't, maybe the people that do cards and dice can answer this for me, because it's a habit I have, and I don't know if it's just me or if they do it as well. But if I'm doing a video of, say, Strat, right, I always make sure people can see the cards, and I make sure you can see the dice. All right. So if I roll the dice, for some reason I have I don't know what the right word is for it. I feel like I'm obligated to say what the dice roll is, even though everybody can see in plain sight what the dice roll is. I happen to say it anyway. It's like 410.
We all do it.
It's just like, why? And I thought to myself, why am I saying? They can see it. Why am I saying this?
No, I think it's part of the immersion factor, because you want to say that in your head too, so you can recognize what you got to look up. Okay, it's a 410.
Yeah.
And so it's Strat. I got to go to the pitchers. I got to go to the pitchers card, and that might be a potential an X chart thing. I think everyone does that.
But I mean, I'm going back and thinking about looking at some of these older, like, why am I saying this when everybody can see it? But maybe you're right. Maybe it's probably just something subliminal.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know that in Strat, I'm looking at the batter card.
Yeah. Whereas Action PC, you can pretty just tell what's happening. You don't have to just click a button and tell what happens.
Yeah. ID says your style is fine, which I agree. And it's just saying the dice is just a habit, and you use that to speed up the game. I think it's whatever it is. I mean, just because you do a cards and dice game, or someone that calls a cards and dice game, you really can't eliminate the cards and dice element out of it, especially because I think that's kind of more of a draw.
Yeah.
I mean, Action PC has the chalkboard, and so I don't need to go through and with some of the stuff, because you can see it. But playing a cards and dice game, he's rolling a 2-4, and the play result number is a 13.
Yeah.
And Clinton says, Al says, I just rolled a 410 on Koran. Clinton says, keep in mind I listen to most games and I do not watch them. You guys letting me know is perfectly fine. I like what I call radio baseball on YouTube.
Right. And I understand that a lot of people may be listening to this while they're doing something else, whether they're driving or I think Dave Parks. I mean, I think he said something about he go walking outside, and obviously he may not be watching, he may just have, be listening in his head, in his ears. And so maybe saying these things is a good thing, because people may not be always staring at the screen the whole time.
Absolutely. Or they're futzing around other things. And so Clinton's right. Do the players need to see the score sheet or not?
I try to, but I don't think it's necessary. I think they do need to see the player cards and the dice. Those are the two things I think they have to be able to see. Score sheet, I try to fit it in if possible, but everybody keeps score differently. So the way I keep score may confuse somebody or something. I don't know, but that's just different styles, I guess.
Go back to John Miller. He always had has an egg timer. Or
who is that? John Miller? To give the score, right?
To give the score, right. Because Clinton says not necessarily the score sheet, but a scoreboard does make a difference. That's kind of hard when you're doing pure cards and dice.
Well, but when I'm doing the White Sox thing, I try to make it where people can see the line score at the very bottom of the video stream, so you can always see what the score is. I try to roll on the score sheet. That's where I do my rolling.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cards are just kind of there. I use a picture maker picture of Comiskey as my backdrop, just to get people in the mood to turn Comiskey. I put the cards there and then roll on the score sheet. And so by doing that, at the very bottom is the line score. So you should be able to see at any time, who's doing what. And if people are really interested, you can see who the next batter is for the next inning for Cubs or the White Sox.
Absolutely. So now that you've been on both sides of it, how do you feel when you see people I know you don't live stream an awful lot. I know it's difficult to do, especially with a cell phone, and thanks to YouTube
Right.
and some of their restrictions.
Yeah, I was just starting to do it until YouTube changed their philosophy.
Right. They still haven't
Although I might
given
be
a
able to do
clear.
it here with the uh, OBS, I might be able to do it on the computer. So
You should be
the way
able
I've been.
to with OBS. The other day, we were going to do it through just like we're doing this. I would
Yeah,
shut up and just let you do it through a Google Hangout. That's how I was doing it.
yeah.
Clinton says, I don't mind seeing that. A good example is Ron and Al's action PC. I don't really look at the players' cards. Well, there's no cards to really look at. But the line
Right.
score in the middle is fantastic because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do go through. But it's kind
Right.
of interesting. You're calling a game, kind of like this chat tonight. And so you look over to see it, and people are talking about something else. And the first couple times that I saw that, I was that rattled me a bit, going, well, they're not paying attention to what I'm doing. But then you realize you call it baseball, and it's a passive sport to begin with.
Yeah.
But you're one of my best color people. When you pop in there, I know that you're going to give me more than just bad puns. Rich
Well, I guess I really enjoy the lunchtime thing because it gets me through because I don't take lunch till about 2 o'clock Eastern, so I'm still working at 12. But this gets me through, kind of gives me a backdrop and kind of gives me a distraction. I got my computer up at work, so I'll just throw a retro sheet real quick, and I need to find a quick fact. I'll try to.
Yeah, you do, and because
I'll go look at the box score for that game and see who played and see if anything weird happened or whatever.
It's been a blast
because I'm very familiar with 82, obviously, because I was 17 years old in 82. So I was definitely following in 82 quite a bit. I remember the Atlanta Braves starting out 13-0 in 1982.
Yes. Yep. And that's how they won the division, because they were pretty much a 500 club the rest of the way. And in my replay, they're pretty much a 500 club.
Sort of like the Tigers in 84. They got off 35-5, but they were pretty much 500. But so many other teams were down that year the 84 Royals are not exactly a championship quality team, but they just won by default.
No, there really wasn't any competition. The Red Sox beat them twice of those 5 losses. 2 were against Boston. As a 12-year-old, I was quite proud of that.
One of my favorite teams, one of my favorite single season teams of all time is the 83 White Sox. I really liked the 83 White Sox. I was very disappointed when they lost to the Orioles.
Why is that?
I just like those. Larussa was just starting out. He had a lot of good players, a lot of good platoon situations. They had Ron Kittle was a rookie that was hitting the ball like crazy. They still had the Bull, and they had Harold Baines and Fisk. And they had Lamar Hoyt and Rich Dotson and Steve and I'm drawing a blank on the other guy's name. Burns. I didn't like their uniforms, but I did like the team. White Sox uniforms.
Only White Sox uniforms. I don't mind the ones they have now, but the ones they wore in the late '80s with the curly C, I liked those. They're nice, but not the softball ones, and certainly not the being a little kid in the late '70s when the 77s with the black.
Yeah. No, but the ones I'm talking about were from early '80s. Had these red and blue stripes
the softball ones with the white hat, with the white. Yeah.
I didn't care.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Clinton is amazed at how young we are. We still have not hit the age of 60 yet, Clinton. They did not have, and I know the stream has gone on a long time, but we haven't hit the age of 60 yet.
But although I do get quite a few mailings from AARP.
I bet you have. I am Sporticus. As a new channel, this information is really valuable. I feel like I'm getting better as I go, but still need to tighten things up. You've been doing this 4 years. If you were to sit down with someone like an I am Sporticus or someone else who's a new channel, what advice would you give to someone that wants to do this, that watches one of our streams, doesn't slam the dislike button, and hasn't run off?
First thing I would do is I would say, are we talking baseball or any?
Baseball's what you do. So assuming that this person
baseball,
right,
I'll stick to baseball. Do your passion. For me, baseball's my passion. I probably couldn't do football videos or basketball videos because it's not my passion. Baseball's my passion. So I would say, do your passion. Do what you want to do. Don't do what you think other people want to see, because in the end, if you don't like what you're doing, you're going to drop out. You're going to give up on it. Try to keep it simple. Try to keep simple. Like, don't say I'm going to play 200 games in 1 week. Just start slow. I'm going to play a game a week. I'm going to play 2 games a week. If it depends on what you like. If you like a rigid statistical thing, then take Strat, learn super advanced game, and roll with it. If you want something simple, pick up APA or Strat Basic or History Maker and do that sort of thing. But to me, it's do what you like. I would probably say don't do a team that you like where you're personally invested.
I would agree with that.
I think Tenacious Earl kind of got caught in that with his when he was doing the Phillies from 08. You could see he was actually getting flustered. I'm like, dude, it's cards. This happened 10 years ago.
Right.
I know you followed them back then, but it didn't change. They're still not going to lose the World Series. They're not going to take it away from them. So, I mean, that's why I don't do any Padre replays. I try not to do any national replays. The White Sox,
I started that Nats Astros replay because I'm just love the way that the Astros play, and got so frustrated 10 games into it that I'm not sure I'll go back to it because it just brought too much back. And a lot of what I did with working with those people was very good, not the team, but people. But it's like, why would you do this? You're just boom.
The one team really wanted to do a replay on, I still may do it later down the road, but I really wanted to do it because it was the 30-year anniversary, was to do a replay of the 89 Orioles, that Why Not Orioles team. Because they brought all these young players and stuff. If I hadn't been doing 77 White Sox, I would have done something with the 89 Orioles. I might go back and
change your schedule around anytime you want.
What's that?
You can change your schedule around anytime you want, or go back and too.
I don't want to get spread. That's another thing I would suggest to people: don't spread yourself thin.
That's true. That's true.
Because you can have 4 projects going and you have no projects going because they all stall. So I would say pick maybe 1 or 2. I like to have at least one other thing going on, so I'm not getting overloaded on one thing and getting bored with Stratomatic. I got my itch. I want to play payoff pitch. I got my itch. I want to play replay. And if you have a project, I might just do a one-off game, but.
But you're talking about the calico type replay, which basically means like a calico cat with many different colors that you would do a one-team replay or whatever, but you might do 5 or 6 different game engines on it. So this series you might do replay, and the next one might be Strat. Then you could do APA Basic or what have you.
Yeah. Like, I want to start this History Maker fictional set. All right, well, I got to realize if I want to do the White Sox and I do this, that might be all I can have time to do.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of 4 other. I love to do this project. Love to do that. You don't have enough time.
Yeah, no, you don't want to tire yourself out or spread yourself too thin because this is all supposed to be fun.
Right. The minute it becomes work, that's when you're doing it wrong. Right. If it becomes work or becomes stressful to get a game in, then it's time to take a step back and say, "Whoa, wait a minute. Let's chill and relax. Let's have some fun." If you need to take a week off from doing videos, take a week off from doing video. If you need to step away from everything, period, put the dice away for a week, put the dice away for a week.
What else do you do for hobbies outside of gaming?
Well, I used to be a golfer back in the day. I actually played on the high school team back in the day, but golf got to be a little too rich for my blood. It's a very expensive game to play. It's a very expensive game. I loved it, and I was, halfway decent at it, I guess, for an amateur. But and plus, it's I didn't have a lot of friends like to play, so it's kind of rough going there by yourself.
Yeah, especially as a kid, it's not a game that's like, oh, let's go to the golf course today.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like playing football or pick up basketball or something like that. So that I'm also from time to time will throw in the old PlayStation 4 and put a video game out there. I've gone through like Red Dead Redemption. I've gone through Grand Theft Auto, things like that, just to be different and just to give me a different sensation, if you want to call it that. I played MLB The Show every year for the last 5 years. So just to give me something, although I'm tired of Math Fast Scourging by now, I wish to get somebody else. But
Santa Maria!
Yeah, no.
Who do you make yourself? Do you make yourself?
I did what they call a road to the show or something. Yeah. I did that last year. Made myself a pitcher, and they stuck me in Springfield, I think, at AA for the Cardinals or something like that. I was hoping they'd send me to Flying Squirrels, but San Francisco didn't draft me. St. Louis did, so.
Well, that's awesome. Last call for questions for Dave baseball demos. A good
Oh, and the
call.
other hobby I have is I love to play card games. I'm
Oh,
very competitive at board and card games. So whether it
what?
be spades, hearts, whatever.
I'm terrible at those two.
I'm even competitive at Scrabble. I mean, I'll play.
Stradivac Delaware joins us. How are you? Scrabble. I've played some competitive Scrabble.
And I'm only.
Scrabble's the math.
I hate to lose more. I like to win. If that makes any sense. I don't like losing.
No, I'm a middle-aged man. I understand how this works. Clinton, I will ask if you ever play Tiger Woods. Now it's Rory McIlroy. Or now it's the golf club PGA.
I actually bought that 2 years ago, the McIlroy game, and I've played it a few times. I played Tiger Woods quite a bit on the PlayStation 3 when I used to have that. So yes, I played Tiger Woods quite a bit. The Masters version. I actually bought the Masters version.
Stradivac Delaware asks if we play chess. I have not played chess in forever.
I played chess back when I was a kid, but I really couldn't tell you too much. I actually have my own little series of opening moves I like to start out with. The first 4 or 5 moves I had you know how the coaches on the Belichick or somebody will pre-program 5 plays or 20 plays to start up a football game. I did the same thing for chess. These are my 5 or 6 moves I'm going to do no matter what the opponent does. But I used to play against the computer and Bobby Fischer and all this stuff, but that was moons ago.
So what board games do you enjoy outside of the sports gaming ones?
Like I said, Scrabble is probably the main one.
Yep.
Anything I like to engage my mind as much as possible.
It's important.
So anything, Trivial Pursuit, Scrabble, stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't lost in Trivial Pursuit in 25 years.
Not so much Monopoly or any of that kind of stuff, but the stuff that you got to think on.
Cat just had a nightmare and just woke up in an awful big hurry on my lap. Thankfully, her claws are not faced in any way that would cause damage to future non-children.
Yes. New mean to Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a Merry Christmas, would you?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean those are the type of things. There's a big gaming community. Have you ever done any wargaming?
Not per se. I did buy on the video game. I think it's one of the Call of Duties. I had one of those. But as far as like a board game, other than Stratego when I was a kid, that was it.
My dad, remember Stratego, biggest Stratego cheater on the planet, and my mother banned it from the house.
Yep. So other than that, that's the only board game I played. Although there was a Civil War game called Blue and Gray or something I played a couple times, but other than that, that was back when I was a kid, so I really didn't know.
Clinton, I haven't watched a movie in 30 years, so you could play me in movies, Trivial Pursuit, but that would be a win for you.
Yeah.
All right. A pick for the Masters.
And for TV, other than sports, I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I watch 2 TV shows, and that's police shows. I watch Chicago PD and Blue Bloods. Other than that, I don't watch any TV other than sports.
Yeah, I don't really watch sports.
I definitely don't know anything about Game of Thrones. I don't know anything about Walking Dead, all those popular shows.
Bless you.
I don't know anything about those.
I watch a lot of YouTube. I find train videos, truck videos, gaming videos. That's my recreation. I just enjoy that a great deal, and you can stop whenever you want and start whenever you want. I've seen some beautiful parts of the world that I would never have been able to have seen before.
And lately, in the last week or so, I've been searching videos for how to live stream on YouTube other than on your phone. I've been doing all kinds of search.
You said you downloaded OBS, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't used it yet. Downloaded it.
Dog Sidious, the dog show, has a good tutorial on that. And if you just Al and Devin, the original Grognard, that's what they use. I use XSplit because I just found it easier to use, but it's not free. But OBS,
are you using a webcam or do you have a separate camera?
Yeah, do you have a webcam on your computer?
I do, but it's very blurry. My laptop's like 6 years old, so it's old.
But yeah, Al, I'm sure Al, Dave Little, a lot of people can help you walk you through OBS, and you can
Well,
stream
see,
that.
some people have where they have like two cameras going at one time because you can see there's two things on the screen, like they're showing the game on the computer, but you can also see their face. So it's like, okay, there's two cameras going on here, and I'm not technically savvy enough to figure all that stuff out.
It takes. I mean, this is the easiest. You just send the link to the Hangout thing, and you just kind of go from there.
Yeah.
That's you can pretty much do whatever you want because you can share screens and all that.
Yeah.
I have, because I'm pretty much keyboard oriented. XSplit is perfect for that. I set up my screen. I set up my scenes. I can save it. Clinton is still calling us little kids in the chat, and this is just.
But to use a payoff pitch term, I think my wheelhouse is just simply recording a game and uploading it. I'm still not.
I mean, if you're not comfortable doing that, I mean, there's a whole thing of you're live, you're paying attention to what you're doing, and you want to make sure that you do it well, that you're taking it, not deadly serious, but serious enough that you're not. Oh, look, I let the pitcher hit what he should hit, or whatever, and you're paying attention to chat. And
I'll get engrossed in the game and I'll ignore the chat. And I was like, I
right. And, the chat, I mean, one of the nice things about streaming them live is that it keeps you company when you're doing it.
Yeah.
But okay, last call for questions for Dave, and ID uses XSplit too. I'll just give it a minute because there's a little bit of a over there.
And I know something. I know you mentioned something about you looked at like your views on. You said I think your interview with Dave Little had the most views or something. Was that the one I'm thinking of?
One the chat that Al and Dave Gardner and I did for.
Yeah. You said like the most
watched minutes. It's minutes straight to pay attention to. This will do well. We've had anywhere between 15 and 20 people watching this live, which is kind of scary, I bet, for you.
But I've gone back and looked at some of my stuff, and I've noticed the ones that get the most views, I don't know about minutes, but the most views is replay baseball. So I don't know if it's because there's not as much videos out on it. The game or what it is. But I'll get like 300 views on a replay baseball where I get 100 views on a strat video. And I don't know what the reason is. If it just
you would think to talk shop just a minute here before I get to I Am Spartacus's question. Is that you would think that with more people available at night that my videos the primetime videos would do better as far as view counts are concerned. Right. Last few weeks it's the lunchtime people think I'm a lunchtime broadcast.
It's perfect for the people at work. It gives us a diversion. So somebody had a question.
Yeah, how are you enjoying Action PC Baseball? Am I your dealer with that too? Apparently I'm everyone's dealer when it comes to Action PC Sports.
Well, actually, I mean, I played that like a couple of years ago and got away from it because it's something about it just didn't click. But then when I saw you and Al playing, it kind of got, like I said, it got the itch going again. So I went ahead and bit the bullet and bought the 19 version when it was on sale, and the new game version, and kind of got back into it and learned how to do all the bells and whistles with the logos and all that kind of stuff, which made it a better experience. And the AI on it is very solid.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned that the other day as on the last games last week. You can't argue with the AI. Once in a while, I'll make a decision in all the sports that will go, but isn't that what human beings would do? I mean, the human mind isn't perfect. And we've talked about, you've questioned some of my decisions before. Don't you know that?
I don't remember doing that.
Yes, you have.
I'm sure people
fine.
Mind too, so.
And Rob says breakfast baseball does well too. And no, I mean, it's tougher things when you would try to. I mean, the things that these games all have that are kind of more complicated is that you have the end of the year stats, and so
you're already knowing what's happening the whole year. You're not starting from the beginning. You don't, so you have no idea that guy's going to tank and hit 216 during the year. You think he's going to be a hot 300 hitter, so you ride him until he proves you otherwise. So
I still don't understand why Mike Ivy's DHing for the Tigers. I don't get that. There's got to be pictures involved.
Is it against a lefty or just? Is it because he's playing a lefty or what?
I think it's been against both. Been against both. Lunchtimes are fun, quick, and can be followed without looking. It's like the old Lindsey Nelson 1 hour Sunday morning Notre Dame day games.
The Notre Dame highlights, Notre Dame football
I
highlights.
remember those. I was in diapers there. Okay. One last call for questions because Dave has been very good in the state a long time. But this wasn't as bad as you thought it was going to be. I know.
Are you feeling okay? Are your elbows okay?
I'm fine. It's just been we're over 2 hours now, and so I know that people stop.
Has it been that long?
It's been It has been that long. It doesn't seem to go like it's going to do that, but nope.
I haven't bored with tears by now after that long. Oof.
People seem to be liking it. I don't understand, but they put up with my nonsense 3 or 4 days a week.
Except Clinton's the only one that doesn't like it, right?
But Clinton has loved it. Has loved every minute of it. I want to say this because I said it in the health video, and I don't want this to turn into because people will watch this one and go, "What?" He's been given very specific things about what he was looking for in this past week, and just very grateful because my wife agrees with him. Payback, Ron, Uncle Ron, payback will be forthcoming. Have some more tapioca, Mr. Parks.
Yes.
We talked about.
Well, if you're gonna be Uncle Ron, can we have Cousin Al? Can we make him Cousin Al?
Cousin Al,
like Cousin It, like Cousin It.
He went to do his own thing. But that's interesting. They want Al and I to do Abbott and Costello together.
Yeah. Well, I wanted you guys to do an action PC game together as a color commentator.
We've talked about doing it.
Do the Go-Go Mets.
The Go-Go Mets. Anyway, so Rob's going to do a game in a few. But yeah, we love you too, Chris. Yeah, so this was fun. Did you want him? You did a prediction? Yeah, we were on the same prediction show. You want to change any of those?
No, but I was not as high on Seattle as maybe I should have been. I thought they might surprise, but not like this. And and the Yankees, I was kind of high on them, but they're getting these injuries now. So with Judge out and Andujar out, it's might be a little time to rethink things. And maybe Philadelphia's better than I thought.
I knew Philly was going to be good, and I knew the Nats weren't as good as people thought. But I didn't think the bullpen was that bad. A lot of people aren't very high on Aaron Boone. I would take Aaron Boone over Davey Martinez.
What's that now?
I would take it. A lot of people in New York aren't very high on Aaron Boone.
Oh yeah,
but you don't win 100 games by accident. But I would take Aaron Boone over Davey Martinez.
Definitely. I would take almost anybody over. I'd even take Joe Madden.
When Madden was with the Rays, I would have loved. Don't drop the phone yet. I'd have taken Madden in Boston over John Farrell in an absolute heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, John Farrell was manager of the year one year and gets fired the next, right?
Not soon enough.
Wasn't he manager of the year in 2013?
They won the World Series and then promptly finished in last place in 2014.
Yep.
They finished in last place in 2012. They win those series in 13, and they finished in dead last in 14.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. People are. It's past the Admiral's bedtime.
Oh, it is. Okay. Well, can't let the Admiral not get his beauty sleep.
Yeah. So, but in all seriousness, Clinton, your help this week has been truly invaluable, and so we'll keep you posted on that. All right. So next, I'm going to tape something tomorrow for the Masters. So if you watch over the weekend, you can get a better sense of how the course plays. And the next live stream from on this channel, anyway, will be Sunday night at 8 o'clock or after the conclusion of the Masters, depending on how late that runs. You got to get the Patriots Challenge finished. I say I don't like football. Those games are the most intense and so much fun. Ellis Hobbs is my hero. And so we're going to do the 89 San Francisco 49ers and the 2007 Patriots. That should be fun. And you know what's coming into on Easter Sunday? Because they got to get it finished by the 25th.
The 85 Bears.
The 85 Bears on Easter Sunday. All right, guys. Thank you.
Does Action Football? Do they have William Perry as a? Can he be a running back, or is it only a D lineman?
I mean, if you got a scrub who came in to throw a third of an inning is rated as a pitcher in Action PC baseball, then the refrigerator is going to be rated as a fullback.
Okay, good.
but Peyton will get the chance to score. I'm not going to do what Dickett did and not give Peyton the ball on
let
the
Perry
throw.
score in the Super Bowl instead of Peyton.
Yeah, that's the biggest disgrace in sports history, I think, is Peyton never scoring in a Super Bowl that you win by 50,000 points.
And you give it to the fat guy.
Give it to the fat guy. All right. Well, thank you so much. Baseball Demos is the channel. Please give that a subscription if you haven't already. If he gets over 1,000, he can stream on his phone again live, but he likes to do the tape thing. This channel, Retro Sports Network, yeah, that's the name of my channel. Hit the like and subscribe. So many of you did, and had a great time tonight. And hopefully, please don't be a stranger in the live stuff. Even the sports you don't necessarily like, you're fun to have around, and I really do enjoy it.
Oh, I watched Dave Gardner's hockey today. It was fun.
Yeah, he loves it.
Even though I'm not a hockey guy, it was just fun. And he has that Boston accent that just gets me, just like Jerry Remy.
Yeah, yeah. We're trying to figure out how to coach against each other, so I could, give his 74 Cheaty Bruins a taste of Canadian poutine justice.
There you go.
All right, thanks guys for watching. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad that you came on.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll see me on tape Saturday, maybe chat with Al. If not, Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Until then, we'll see you the next time.